You go back there, and I'm like, I'm in the bed. He's like, you take the clothes. I'm like, no, take the clothes off. Nope. He's like, you know what's up? No. Like, then he just hooked off on me, boom, and then they just beat me down. And the whole process was just like, but I'm trying to get it like together. So I just need, like, I see what's going on here. How, like, I've been around other wars, but it's like here's, it's a little more camaraderie. Like, it's a lot more going on. Like, it's a lot. You know, I remember Johnny said we gotta be active. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm trying to just get active, and I live where I'm at right now. I'm so far from anybody. Like, there's no wars I can make. I can't find them. You know, I seen stuff filed, the stuff I looked up. I'm not sure if she's still, but I know her from the New York classes, Sister Annie. Yeah, I seen some of her documentation and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, you know, that's what's missing. Like,
you need that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they got it from them.
Exactly.
Because they had one of the brothers, then they went in like a consulate.
Yeah, exactly.
Went like a consulate.
And you see how they stood outside.
Yeah, and they stood outside in you know, military type platoon. Yeah. And he said, look out that window. We're not leaving until you let him go.
Right. That's how you gotta be.
That's how it should have worked with you.
Right.
That's how it should have worked a few days ago.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
This is real, you know.
It is real. This is people's lives that we're dealing with.
And when you really understand the history, it's warfare. That's what's going on. Like, they on our land.
We're occupying
us. You know what I'm saying? Taking finance to human trafficking, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Imagine they were doing that in other Australia. I think they had the Aboriginals classified as fauna and flora.
A foreigner?
Fauna and flora. That's how they have the Aboriginals of Australia classified as plants and animals. You know what I'm saying? So that was their civil living more two status. It's the same way we're classified. So like, this thing is real.
Yeah.
So, but I'll get like information and stuff like that. You can mail and stuff.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, that's what because we are part and parcel.
Exactly.
Because we are.
Yeah, we eat from there.
Yeah. Now stories like that get me upset. Logically, and it makes it kind of drives me to do something, but we can't just act.
Right.
I mean, we can't act like violently or something like that. We would have to organize and wean them.
Right.
Every time you touch one of them, we're going for your pockets, and we're telling your insurance company too. We're going to CC your insurance company, CC the governor, because the governor is in charge of enforcing the law, and that's what's going to force them to react. Not us just saying we're Moors. That's not going to get them to do shit because they already know. And they know that we don't have a superior force, so they do whatever it is that they want to do. Just like when I was in court yesterday, they know it was only me standing up. It was only me, so they surrounded only me. All your books. Let's go. We just need a place to put them. We just want to build a building. People that don't care, Moors bringing in literature. Look at that.
Yeah.
How come temples ain't showing this?
That's wealth right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now we got to put that in the group's trust.
Yeah.
It's not just like all these European families got the William Hall library. That William Hall's family owns that. Now the Moors got a library.
And see, like, what I want to do, I got a few other people they got legal stuff going on as well. They want to help, but it's like they don't know where to go, how to do it, and stuff like that. But I want to just kind of replicate this. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, you know.
So, do you have my book?
No, I don't.
Oh. Well,
see, like, I got
Connecticut is part of the Narragansett Confederacy. And in our trust that we created, that we're still working on, the geographical coordinates include Connecticut and parts of Long Island. So there's no coincidence as to why you're here. And then when you look up the chapter in the Quran when Yeshua was talking about the resurrection, when the will of the people conforms with the will of Allah, the resurrection is possible. When the will of the people conform to fighting against oppression, the resurrection of the Aboriginal people's government is possible. But the will of the people have to demand it. You going through that situation is what demanded this. So now you're here. Now we need our other brothers and sisters to realize this is what we need.
This is it.
Because if we keep doing this alone, they're going to keep telling us to strip and try to strip us of our masculinity. And that's right in the Willie Lynch manual. That's exactly what they're doing. But our people want to be so conscious and woke, talking about I, E-Y-E, not I, because I'm ancient and Kemetic. Meanwhile, we're going through this BS, because it's all ego.
Come on, man.
You got more books? You got Durelli on the shirt? You got Durelli on the shirt? A lot of books. Where do you get these?
I used to in GSA, and which is the fifth floor in the federal building.
Put up these books.
So they remember that basically the store was running. So I grabbed them.
Let's go.
I got someone in there on a state.
Yeah, I see. Brown jungle walls. Probate. In order to avoid probate, put everything
Trust.
you have in a trust.
Yes.
Do you know why things go to probate?
So they can catch you out.
No, do you know why they go to
If
probate?
not, then take it, whatever you have, right?
Because they claim birth certificate.
See?
Oh,
What was that?
Yeah, because you
Because of
don't
the
have
birth certificate. So since everything that we do, remember in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, it says you will not be able to buy
no, sir.
or sell, save you have the name or the mark of the beast or the number associated with that name. And then when you read Article 22 of the Christian Black Codes of 1724, it states that blacks shall never own anything, and whatever they acquire under their own liberality or whatever, their own industry shall be the full possession of their masters. That's because we transact business in their name. That all capital letters name, written on their birth certificate. That's why they own everything, and everything goes to probate court, where they say which artificial entity is the beneficiary to that other artificial entity's assets. And since we don't know who we are, we don't know that we're not this, we say, yeah, we need to go there European probate because they know stuff, and we don't because we're their property. That's what we're saying, but we don't know what we're saying. And ask any black person where they got their last name from, and they'll tell you a European. So they know it's not their name, but then they do business in that name anyway. That's why things go to probate. So to avoid probate, you say, since I'm a grown man and woman, I'm gonna say what happens to my things. And then I'm gonna say, this goes to my son. This goes to my daughter. Since I'm God on earth, whatever I write is law. So it doesn't go to probate. Does that make sense? Because if I'm your son, right, you say, Jamal, take out that trash. That's what Jamal wants to do. Take out the goddamn trash. And then if you're my father, right, I'm still your son, and he's your son, and then you say, Jamal's not going to be in control of my farm. He is. Then what's the law? What you wrote.
Can I expand on that a little bit?
Yes, please.
The birth certificate, right, is, if you look, the signature on the birth certificate is signed by the registrar, who's a deputy of probate court, which probate court is court of the dead. So it's telling you on your birth certificate itself that it's a dead entity.
Oh, you know what? You know what they do have you. I think
Hold on, one person at a time, because we're on the record.
Now, when you authenticate the birth certificate, as the Europeans do, what you're actually authenticating is the signature of the registrar. So it's proof. They're giving you proof at the Department of State level that that's a dead entity. It's not you. It's something issued by them. It's a dead entity. It's a corporation as well. And that's what authentication of the birth certificate actually proves in states. But that's what
The governor is the slave master.
What are you saying?
No, I was saying, who did you say is the one that gets it? So you said the registrar.
The registrar. Yeah, he's the signer on the birth certificate. He's just whoever the registrar is.
The doctor.
But he's a deputy of probate court.
The mother signs twice. The father doesn't have to be there. And then
That's the certificate of live birth. That's different than the birth certificate. The certificate, the birth certificate, you go to pay $20. It's the registrar signature on it.
But check it out.
It tells you who the mother and the father is.
It has my mother's name on there twice. As my mother and as an H.
Informant. That's
Informant.
the certificate of live birth. That's the one that she signs originally at the hospital. That's different than the one you go and get the copy for.
All right, I can see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Either way,
But they're both signed by the registrar.
Either way, how about we stop going to their European venues
Yeah.
and getting our children there when they have to claim ownership of it? How about we start learning how to do it the way our ancestors did it and beget our children at home to avoid that. So, because if you go to their venues to get their assistance and they put stipulations on that, then that's what you agree to.
Right.
Knowingly, because everyone knows if you go to their venue, you have to sign for it. So how about we just don't go? How about you prepare to have your child and study? This is what I need to know to help my woman deliver this child. Oh, that's what I'll do.
They make our women so fearful that they're afraid just to give natural birth, that they'd rather get this thing stuck up their back. That from the women I've spoken to, that's even worse than giving natural birth. And then the majority of them always got back pain. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's being connected to your child and stuff.
Yeah. The Europeans get paid to do C-sections.
Yeah.
If it's a natural birth, they don't get as much money. Or fiat.
It's a whole nother department coming in, the anesthesiologist. C-sec, there's more money on top of what the.
So now you're talking about earlier in the book of Revelation, they were talking about the dragon waiting for the woman to give birth, to be delivered. And then as soon as the baby is born, the dragon devours the baby. And we already know all these doctors, all these so-called politicians, all these so-called police, quote-unquote, officers are members of the clan. And what's the top dog of the clan? The Grand Dragon.
Yeah. But in our minds, one feels like the doctor does it, he's a professional, he's going to be careful out of it.
He's going to be careful because he's breeding cattle and he needs that property to be able to work.
In their mind, naturally, she'd rather have him do it than say her husband stay there and not to have him do it. It's just so unmental.
It is. And that's why. That's why in the media they always try to demasculate us in the media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's in the media, our people are trained to rely on the European, and it's right in the Willie Lynch manual. That's why all these, even with the Avengers, right? Yeah. Captain America is a European, and he's always saving the day. And get beat up, like, oh no, and then he saves the day. So now we think Europeans are savior. Just same thing that they do with so-called Palestinian Jesus. It's the same thing. All these action movies, the European whooping everyone's ass and shit. What do you think I'm doing?
Right. We just gotta get out of the chain and throw up that one. We gotta get out of that.
It's a
eat that.
It is.
That's what they told us unnatural. That's why they have C-section.
Right.
Because the woman's actually supposed to speak down, they gotta lay it up.
Lay it up. Yeah.
I seen on Facebook where they had a woman giving her birth in her living room in a artificial little pool.
I seen that too. She did it herself.
Wide open, came right on out, and I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
I don't see no other animals.
That's true.
The squirrel was a close
squats down.
Let me give birth to this cow real quick.
If I could,
They just get up and go.
They dropped it right out of the ground. So it's like,
The brother wants to share something.
no, because we were talking about the birth certificate in probate court, and I think if I'm not mistaken, how they have it like classified is you're like a dissident or decedent, if I'm saying it right. But yeah, it's saying it says a deceased person, especially we talk about civil liberal too, in corporation. So it says a deceased person, especially one who has lately died. Etymologically, the word denotes a person who is dying, but it has come to be used in law as signifying any deceased person, testate or intestate.
that's dissident.
Dissident, yeah. Like I forget. I think I was in probate court before, and I was looking up like something about trust or something like that. And that word it's like a trust. It's like a trust word or something like that. But that's what it means.
Because when you're dealing with probate court, you're dealing with wills.
Exactly.
So if it's a will, someone's either dying or dead, so you're trying to see where their assets go.
Right.
Because chances are families are destroyed, so we're fighting against each other. So everyone's like, no, I want the money. No, I want the money.
Yeah.
Even though the person clearly wrote down who gave the assets.
And if it's not a will, the state takes it.
Right. That's how the state will take it.
They'll take it through taxes, or they take it
So
through death.
parents property, what's up?
The group from Delaware is on.
They're on great. Dope. All right, so let's try to, even though that's all related, it's all related. Everything we're talking about is related. Because the problem begins with our women. And when you read the Willie Lynch letter of 1712, it'll tell you The Europeans tell you that the target is our women, not the men. The war is against the women, not the men. I'm gonna say that again. The war is against our women, not the men. We're just moved out of the way because we're her security guard. And it'll tell you in the Willie Lynch letter, the condition of the child reflects the condition of the mother. That's why you see the European Masons and some Asiatics who think that they're black, think that they're Prince Hall, anything, they got something going on. They'll have the Asiatic woman, Sphinx head, the crescent in the moon, which represents the womb of woman, and they'll have a sword going through it, meaning they suppress our women's minds, to suppress her womb, to suppress us at birth. And then it tells you in the Willie Lynch letter to make the male, to make the female nigger dependent on the European slave master. And you often see our women going to their jobs to get Roman money, to pay Roman rent, because our men think that they're goddamn gangbangers, and some of our men know that they're males, and they want to chase after European women. And don't think I'm innocent in this, because I used to mess with European women too, but I know what it is now, you know what I'm saying? We can correct ourselves. We just have to willingly do so, because we have an obligation to our people. So, what to ask in quote-unquote court? Number one, where is the injured party? Because we just had a brother who was kidnapped for being in an abandoned house. Now let's see where the crime. I'm going to be referencing these two books real quick. So in this book, I'll read it. Chapter 24, verse 29. It is no fault on your part, houses not used for living in, which serve some use for you. Now, what does that mean?
Well, if you don't have a place to stay, you go into a place that's empty, you're using it for your safety.
You're not breaking any laws, aren't you? Right? Then let's go to Rhode Island Constitution. It says, Article 1, Section 3, freedom of religion. Now, wasn't that a religious book? Didn't Noble Drew Ali say, you know, he recommended reading the Great Quran of Muhammad? Didn't Noble Drew Ali say that? Okay. So let's read Article 1, Section 3 of the Rhode Island Constitution. Section 3, freedom of religion. Whereas Almighty God hath created the mind free, and all attempts to influence it by temporal punishments or burdens, or by civil incapacitations, tend to beget habits of hypocrisy and meanness. I'm skipping. We therefore declare that no person shall be compelled to frequent or to support any religious worship, place, or ministry, nor otherwise suffer on account of such a person's religious belief. So he got kidnapped because he's going to an abandoned house, right? So they're already attacking us. That's why they say there's a war on Islam. It's against us, right? So chapter 24, verse 29 in the Holy Quran of Muhammad. Then, speaking more lawfully, from a jurisprudence standpoint, they said a corporation owned that property. And I asked this question off camera, I'll ask it again. Can corporations own anything? No. Why can't corporations own anything? Because property can't own property. The dead has no interest in the matters of the living because it can't. So in court, if you were in court, quote unquote court, that you know is fake because the Europeans don't have jurisdiction over us, but they kidnap us anyway, and the magistrate says you're facing breaking and entering, what's one thing that you can ask them? Knowing that it's diversity of citizenship, knowing that there's a consulate here, knowing that they're foreigners and we're not, what's a few things that you can ask them? That you can refer to? One person at a time. Say that again. Where is the injured party? Where is the injured party? Also known as the corpus delicti. Because if you got in trouble or breaking and entering into an abandoned house, then clearly someone reported you. Clearly they should be there accusing you or say, yep, that person did it. And that's right in the Constitution. Right in the bill. I want to face my accuser. Yep. Where's my accuser? He attempted to say that, but then he stumbled, didn't he? Study, practice in the mirror if you got to. Talk to some trees, practice with some trees, no matter, just practice. Also, if they're claiming that a corporation's or anyone owns anything, have them prove it. Because often what these Europeans do is they call their militia on us, because we're in a military occupation. So they call the police on us, which is their military, or even their sheriffs, because they're not really sheriffs, on us. Some European will say, yeah, he's in my house, I own it. And then the policy enforcers will show up, and that person who called will never show proof of ownership. So now they're just going off hearsay. And since it's an Asiatic who they say is a black man, they automatically portray us in the media as suspects or criminals. So it's an entire mind or state of mind that we're dealing with, not just the people. It's their mind. Because the Europeans have our people's minds too. You know what I'm saying? Because just like when we was in quote unquote court, we sent a lot of Asiatics in there, uniformed up, strapped, saying, "Why are you looking at me?" Because I got eyes. You know what I'm saying? So you can ask, so since they violate that due process already, and they didn't contact the Moorish American consulate when the Moor said, I'm a Moor, contact my consulate, because then they're supposed to get a warrant per Article 1, Section 6 of around the Constitution. So their magistrate's supposed to call the consulate saying, you know, there's something going on with one of your Moors, I'll be down there. Then we litigate. Then if we can't, then a warrant gets issued. So they already violated that. So they brought him before the magistrate. He could have said, show me proof that the corporation owns this estate. Because a deed of trust is not ownership of property. A mortgage is not ownership of property. A warranty deed is not ownership of property. So prove to me that I was entering his or her property. Because if they don't have a loading title, then they don't what? They don't own it. Exactly, feudal lords, meaning their claim can be argued. Does that make sense? Also, you can ask the so-called magistrate, where is your oath to both constitutions? Not just the Constitution for the United States of America, but whatever so-called state that you're in. Because they have to have oaths to both.
So you want to see something in writing there, right?
Yes.
Put on the record.
Yes. You can also ask for their bond number. Because all quote-unquote elected officials or officers, governmental officers, have indemnity bonds. All of them. What is your bond number?
Is there a way you can?
So I went down to City Hall and
Well, no, when we were in the so-called courthouse and we asked for that so-called judge's oath.
they gave us the runaround. Go upstairs, go downstairs, the clerk, maybe this person has it, maybe that person has it.
They told you to do that?
Yeah, nobody knew what that was.
They got amnesia.
Yeah, nobody knew what it was. Everyone was confused. They just didn't know what it was.
And then what did they tell us to do? Please.
I don't remember.
She said.
Oh, she said we have to
record.
we have to request it from the clerk supervisor
Who wasn't there?
in writing. Yeah, who was in the building but not there. Only first name was given, but write a letter to them and we have to submit a request, and then they'll get back to
It's
us.
supposed to be public information.
But isn't it supposed to be displayed somewhere?
Yeah, it's supposed to be public information.
Right.
Just like they got how much people will be in the room? Did you want to
Yeah,
ask?
I went through a similar situation. I was looking for the oath of office for that magistrate who violated my rights, and I got the same runaround. I went up to the Capitol, and they sent me to this building, they sent me to that building, they sent me to that building, and I left without it. And then I ended up getting the judicial directory, and I found she said that the chief, they got like these. It's all administrative type stuff,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So it's the chief administrative court, this person, and then chief administrative. So I found emailed one person. I called actually, and they sent me to a message to somebody else, and it was him. But in the email, I was going back and forth, and he addressed me as Mr. Bay. So I hit him in the email back. I was like, "Yo, stop with the Anglo-Christian titles. I'm Moorish. Next one, noble." So when he hit me back on the email, he said Noble Bay. And then I was actually able to get, it's not a copy of their oath. It's like a receipt.
This right here?
It's like it doesn't even look like a.
That right there?
I believe I got it on my email. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna say I'll send it to you. But it's I'm like, this is not even what they gave me. It wasn't. I don't think it was even like that.
So when we went to so-called court for this more, we were there at 9 a.m. and they scheduled him at 2 p.m. So we had a lot of time. So then we ended up going to the city hall to see if they have any public officials, oaths, and bond numbers on the record. Where did we go first? We went to vital statistics, right?
Yeah.
We checked vital statistics.
Mhm.
We checked the administration department, right? We even went to the mayor's office and
Yeah.
asked his clerk, George E. Lorza, said, "Do you have the mayor's oath of office here?" They said, "What is that?"
Mhm.
Slam dunk.
So I said, "The thing that they." I said, "So if I'm supposed to be the governor here, I'll take an oath to the Constitution, and then that gets filed somewhere. Where is that document?" They didn't know.
It's like y'all either playing games or I can't really.
Well, there's done.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, they're really not playing the game. They don't know.
Some of them straight up don't know.
no, yeah, that's the
Like
thing.
straight up done.
They don't.
Yeah. Then you went back and you went to the basement or something like that, right? You want to share what happened?
I went to City Hall basement. Well, first I asked the security guard. He sent me to the governor's clerk. The clerk didn't have it, but someone from the clerk's office took me to the library, who took the archives, who took me to information in the basement. And then turns out they don't actually call it the oath of office. They call it our certificate of engagement, which is why everyone and the actual thing that they read and put their hand on and do it on TV, they don't sign that.
Is that on camera? This is what we got. This is for the so-called governor of Rhode Island. Engagement. So it's not actually an oath. It's a certificate of engagement. Is it good on camera?
Yeah.
I'll read it. So it says, it has the Secretary of State stamp on it, January 9th, 2015 at 10:54 a.m. State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantation elected officials, certificate of engagement. Certificate to be filled out and delivered to the Secretary of State within 30 days after the date of commission, pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 36-1-4. And typed, it says Providence, County, and the City of Providence, and the county and state aforesaid on the 6th day of January 2015. I, Gina M. Raimondo, who's the so-called governor here, de facto governor here, which is a substitute bay, since we don't want to wake up, since we want to be black, hereby make oath, that's what it says, I'm read that again. I, Gina Raimondo, hereby make oath to support the Constitution and laws of this state and the Constitution of the United States, and faithfully and impartially to discharge, according to the best of my abilities, the duties of the office of governor. Signed, her signature, address 125 Morris Ave, Providence, Rhode Island, 02906, telephone number 401-529-6048, dated January 6, 2015, signed before me this 6th day of January 2015, Donna M. I don't know what that is. Expires April 15th, 2015. I'm not sure exactly what expires then. Hopefully it's not Rhode.
The oath expired.
So when these Europeans violate us, we need to get their bond numbers and their oaths so we can sue them, or at least lien them, which is very similar. That makes sense? Any questions on that? So I'm going to show you the video of what happened once the Moore got placed in so-called Superior Court, in so-called District Court, in the so-called state of Rhode Island. And they have a bunch of armed guards in there, and it's just Moors with their words. And this is what happened. So they brought him out. He said, "My name is Khalifa, Raymond Khalifa Bey. And then on their docket, they had they didn't write Bay down. They didn't put Bay on the piece of paper.
That's not him.
Then, I didn't bring a copy with me, but if you just go down to the so-called 6th District Court and ask for this record, you'll see that they had this thing typed up, and then they went like this. And Rhode is a straw name. Then they put AKA Khalifa. So that's how they're claiming jurisdiction. And especially if you have any so-called prior records with them, then it's as if they captured one of their runaway slaves because you put your fingerprints in their records as a fake name that's not you, that you thought was you because they fooled your mother the second you were born. And then you think that you're it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, knowing that he's a Moor, they presented him to, let me say his name again. Who's that piece of? No, my red book. So they presented this Moor up to the European acting like a judge. His name was this was the European on our land acting like a judge who continued to proceed after I told him that he was violating international law and that he had a Moorish American unlawfully detained. And then it was him who did not tell the European guards to not harass me and take me out of that room. So guess who we hold accountable? Him. Yeah. We don't say the white man's being racist. We get his bond number, his oath, and we leave his house.
Because he swore. He's supposed to protect you.
And then when we take them to district court, we can hit the governor with a tort. Why? Because she is charged with making sure the law is enforced. And the Moorish American consulate put her and William E. Smith, who was the Chief Justice of the United States District Court for the District of Rhode Island, and the Chief Sheriff for the state of Rhode Island, they got put on notice that the Moorish American consulate is here. And they have my phone number, they have my email, they have Chalet Moore's number, but they're supposed to contact us the second they get the word that any Moor is involved in anything. That's Article 20 and 21 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, where in any controversy between any citizen of the United States and any Moor, criminal or civil, consuls must be present. That's called due process. But what happens when there's no Moorish Americans around? When you say, hey, where the Moorish Americans at? You see a bunch of Asian walking back and forth and they say, I'm black. What happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. So, don't know that. This is what we can do. We can speak up for our brothers and sisters who may or may not have the, let's say they're not well studied yet, but they know, the spirit's strong, but the flesh is weak, and they're trying to put their stuff on the record, but they're in bondage because the Europeans keep kidnapping our people. This is what we can do. So they asked me if I was a member of the Rhode Bar. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not sure if you know what it is.
This man is not a United States citizen. This man is not a citizen of the United States. Have a seat. You're violating international law. You have not contacted our consul to speak to our nationals. You are violating international law. Let's go.
Let me try to pause it on Patrick T. Burke so you know what it looks like. Let's see if I can get it. That's kind of blurry. He looks pretty young. For European, they age poorly.
Go,
So
let's go.
I'm surprised. I can't get a good.
Go.
I'm clicking on the pause button and it's not. Oops.
Go, you've been formally notified. There are violations to national law. You do. You're gonna leave, sir. I'm gonna lock you up for solely conduct. You need to move. Go ahead and move. That's the city ordinance of the city of Providence. Let's go. I'm not. That's fine. You don't have to leave. Step out.
So you see how the so-called judge said nothing? You just let it happen?
That was one of the officers talking to you.
Well, he's not an officer, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not saying.
So I told him he's not a citizen of the United States. He's a Morris American. He failed to contact me, which is a clear violation of international law. So no Japanese person could just take no Chinese citizen. Clearly that's a violation. You know what I'm saying? But since we don't have the backing of our people, they can do whatever it is that they want. Let's not be stupid. Let's not pretend that they honor the Chinese people just because they say, well, we're Chinese and we're a government. They honor the Chinese people because they have a GD military. Now, I'm not saying we need to go to war with these people, but we need to show these people that when you talk to one of us, you talk to all of us. And we need to realize that this is not something that we just post on YouTube and post on Facebook and something that we do not live. Because if you're at work and you got the call that a Moore was taken, oh, family emergency, I gotta leave. Because are we not blood? So who do you favor more, Rome or your people?
Somebody commented, yes, that's exactly what they did when they violated our Fourth Amendment rights and broke into our home and kidnapped our children.
Mm-hmm. Where's our military at? Noble Drew sent out a prophet and a general. So if he's a general, what does he have?
An army.
So where are they? They think that they're who? They think that they're gang members. Just like me, I thought I was serving my people by joining the military. They think that, what branch were you in? I was in the Marines. So we think that we're serving our people by joining their military. Meanwhile, we're fighting their war for them. Right. And then no one defeats the Moors. That's why Europeans are winning. They're winning because we don't know our own history. Then we admit that we're miseducated in their schools, and then we want more black programs. And we want them to give us the curriculum. And we honor them. And then we get treated like minors because we're acting like children, and then we want to complain because we don't want to do nothing. And then we say, well, how come you Moors ain't doing it? How come you're not doing it? Instead of just doing it. So, I put on the record that he's not a U.S. citizen. Then they put handcuffs on me. And my people weren't there to take me out. But they were just trying to put fear into everyone. All they did was take me in the back. They took off my stuff. They said, take your feathers off. I said, no. This is a religious headdress. You cannot tell me to take it off. But what I will do is show you that there's nothing under it, and I'm putting it back on. They said, okay. All right, one like this. I'm not going to show you because I got a bun under here. I showed them there's nothing under it. I put it back on. Then, when they took me down the elevator, they had me pass the cell where other Asiatics were being held. And Khalifa Bey was telling them about me. And then they see me when they were in the room. They said, you're in here too? Yeah, don't worry, they're going to let me out. And then the European guard, excuse my language, because I may have a child here. But so the European guy, right, but this older dude, he's like, well, what do you say? He said, sit the fuck down. This is between me and him. This has nothing to fucking do with you. Shut the fuck up. I have no problem mixing any of you in there. And then they all sat down and shut the hell up. Then he turned around to me and he said, please stay in that box. Because the status is different. Yes. Right. Exactly. It's funny, but it ain't funny. If you're in that cell, you know what I'm saying? Sure. And then there are families, so I'm like, Do you not see how they're treating me?
Right.
Because you think you're their property, you're gonna act like it, and you're gonna let this European speak to you like that.
Islam.
Then, they searched me, all that stuff. They took the change out of my pocket. They counted the notes that I had. They had me sign for it. They had me initial for it, right? They said initial for this, so this was my initial. What's that mean? What does that mean? Direct arrest and coercion. That's what that means. That was my initial, and those were my signatures when I left, right? Then the European, so they take me, told me to take my shoes off. Took my shoes off. Then when they got to the feds, they said no. Then some old wrinkled European woman came in and said, she's not cooperating. And then I said, who are you? I don't even know what I'm here for. And then she said, well, I think that you're here for obstruction. I was like, do you think or do you know? And then she turned quickly to another guy. She said, well, what did the judge say? And then he was outside the room. He was like, well, I'm going to go ask to see what the judge said. And then they left. And she shut the hell up the whole time. Now, I'm telling you this because you can't see what happens in the back. But they treat you. I was surrounded by guards the entire time, walking with no cuffs. They put me in cuffs out. Then once I got in the back, I was walking like this. Oh, where am I going? Oh, in here? All right.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, you only know this if you put yourself in that situation and you don't fear Rome. Then you can have this story and share it with the people. Other than that, you might get online, but I don't really care what you think. Do it and see what happens. But if you got fear, you ain't going to do it. Right. Then in the Quran it says, paraphrasing, something about don't point. A stick can do the same. A real master teacher lays down his footprints and shows you exactly what he did. So I put myself in their system and got out 10 minutes later. So clearly, either this works, or they're really afraid of one person. When I was outnumbered. So which one is it?
Watch out, he's gonna wreck this.
Yeah, watch out, he's going to this. So, our people really need to get with it. Any questions?
I have questions.
Yes.
They're a little off topic, but the group has a small list.
Okay, so some of the questions that they had was payment/theft taking over our domicile to stop paying rent. Go to riseandmore.org and look at the quit rent deed that's posted on the website, QUITRENT. So remember, what is your nationality determines your what?
Political status.
Political status. What does political deal with? Should we go on a loan book?
Rights.
Rights, the enforcement of rights, theory. That's part of your rights. So you're dealing with the treaty. You're dealing with the management of affairs. So nationality determines your political status. Political dealing with rights, the enforcement thereof, managing your affairs. Status is your standing state and condition as it relates to the rest of the community. But once you know that this is your land,
Right.
you have a different status compared to others on your land. Then even if you go to their watered down version of history, they admit that they're pilgrims, meaning that they know that they're Europeans. Then when you do research on Ellis Island, late 1800s, mid 1900s, about 12 million Europeans came here unlawfully, so that they're still not Americans, right? So, if no Charlie said Moors were living up and down the Mississippi before any European got here, and according to history, they're not from here, and this is not Europe, then they don't have any claim here. And then when you read the rights of indigenous people, it says we have the right to our lands and resources back. Why am I paying you anything? Then when you go to law, look up feudal lord. Feud means it can be argued. It means they're waging war against us. Your claim can be argued. All I got to do is claim my estate. Why am I paying you anything? So, if you're claiming I owe you rent, and you're claiming that you're going to evict me, first of all, prove that you're the holder in due course of any allodial title to this estate that proves that you can make that claim. So let's say you just see her hand me this phone, right? Now I'm trying to say, yo, you trying to buy this phone? You would say, well, can you show me the receipt where you got that phone to prove that you can sell it? You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So have the so-called landlord or the property manager prove that they own that building. Because if they don't own it, then clearly they can't say you owe them anything. And you have to know that a deed of trust is not ownership. A warranty deed is not ownership. And a mortgage is not ownership. But if you don't know that, then they're going to say, I own this, you need to get out, and you're going to leave. And then your estate is abandoned.
Yeah.
And that's because we don't know. And then we just leave. And then we're so afraid because they got European cops on the street. I don't want to go to jail. And then we just leave. So, is Rome your God or is your mom your God? Another question. ID card and proper methods of nationalizing. So nationalizing is your mental status. Either you study or you don't. Right? So dealing with the IDs. Here in so-called Rhode Island, you have something known as the Rhode Island General Laws 31 and 2, number 4, which talks about foreigners and persons exempt from licensing. Meaning you don't need to have a state of Rhode Island license. And look up title. So every so-called state has one of these. Specifically for here, this is what it is. Oh, this is also good. So you're from so-called Connecticut, right? So I'm going to show you exactly what it is. Oh, please call me. Please, I don't have the codes for that one yet. Please. Please, how you doing? Have a what? A scene? Oh, team. Well, that team is being built right now. I'm actually live right now. You're on the phone. Say hi to yourself. You're not on speaker though. I'm telling them more now about IPs. Yeah, it will be. This will ever open. Oh yeah, hi.
This is the IDs.
Yes.
I wanted to ask too. Will I be able to get this? How should I go about it?
Well, there's a bunch more seals, so you can get. Yeah, and I got a seal, so I can seal.
And then I'll talk to you then.
So what I'm going to show you, if you'll ever load, is the information that you need in regards to this question. I remember some stuff off the top of my head, not everything. Oh, I mean everything. Oh, look at that. So let's start writing.
Somebody asked, can you do a quick claim deed on a cell phone?
Yeah, then watch how fast they turn your services off. Oh, wait, oops. And someone, okay, because someone's private info. Cool. Let me get rid of this real quick. Clearly, I've been making them. So, someone's mugshots on here. Cool. So here's some information on nationality cards, right? So since the original Narragansett Confederacy extended from so-called present-day Rhode Island, which is where you are right now, quotation marks, by the way, which includes Plymouth, so-called Plymouth Rock, also so-called Long Island, New York, all of so-called Connecticut, all of so-called Massachusetts, all the way up to the Merrimack River in so-called New Hampshire. And the seat of that confederacy was Mount Hope Bay, B-E-Y. And they don't even hide it. And this information will be in my second book. So I was issuing temporary nationality card, just like when the DMV, you get your so-called permit and give you a permit card too. They're frauds. So since we're trying to get out of this, and a lot of people don't have the 50 notes from to get it through RV Bay, or shout out to RVBaypublications.com, right? So this ID was officially issued by the Morris American Consulate, which would be me, right? Council Post Head. This national identification card is to be accepted as valid identification, non-subject to Massachusetts General Laws, Part 1, Title 14, Chapter 90, which includes the Department of Homeland Security in that statute. So we look up the Massachusetts General Law, they'll have that in here. I'll have this part in here. And then they'll also have this in here. Department of Homeland Security. And that's the number 6 CFR.37, which enforces Title 18, subsection 1028, D number 3. You want me to go into this? All right, cool. Just so you know I'm not lying to you. So let's just do this on the record again. Google. This is why Noble Joy said your nationality card is going to change in your pocket. Because if you don't know this, then they're going to say, like when I went on that plane, let me just show the ticket again. All right, so this is the plane ticket that I got to go to so-called Florida with my nationality card. And I'm going to show you the name that's on the card and the name that's on the plane ticket, and they're going to match. Because I'm not afraid of Rome. You all see that. My beautiful name. It's all blurry.
Let me try to get it.
My camera woman is COINTELPRO. She'll know what she's doing.
Shut up. It's because the light's so low.
CIA and the FBI at the same time.
Okay.
It's also our movie, so. But so I'm gonna pass this around after I read this. Not 7. Oh, look.
Mount Hope Bay.
Yep, BUI. So, Title 18 of the United States Code, subsection 1028. Let's go down to letter D. C, D. So this is dealing with the term. Let's go to number 3. The term identification document, which they asked you for ID, right? So I'm reading right here. Number 3. The term identification document means a document made or issued by or under the authority of the United States government. A state, is that specific?
A state.
It's not specific, it's very general. Because Brazil is a state.
Yes.
Cuba is a state. Mexico is a state. They're called nation states. And then we look up the Organization of American States, they'll say Cuba, Brazil, Chile, meaning those are states. Because a state is a group of people bound together by common law. That's a state. Right? Political subdivision of a state, a sponsoring entity of an event designated as a special event of national significance, a foreign government. I'll let that sink in. Now, aren't the Europeans foreigners?
Yes.
Yes.
So isn't the United States foreign?
Yes.
So if they're foreign to us, that means what? We're foreign to them, right?
Right.
So according to their codes, we're a foreign government to them.
Right.
So these are our IDs issued by a foreign government, right? Which completed with information concerning a particular individual name, height, weight, nationality, is a type intended or commonly accepted for the purpose of identification of individuals. So what does that mean? According to United States Codes, Title 18, subsection 1028, D3, our nationality cards are valid ID. So again, when I tried to board that plane, I showed them this. The European was very polite. She said, I never seen this before. I just have to call security, make sure you're not on the no-fly list. I said, okay, Susan. I don't know her name, but she's Susan to me. Then she called Bob and said, hey, Bob, I never seen this ID. It says Eladio, because they always mess up with Eladio, American National Identification Card. And it says Moorish American on it. I've never seen that. And then Bob said, well, ask him questions and don't let him look at his phone. Then she said, what school did you go to? So I said, in school. Name some landmarks around there. So I started naming stuff. Then she said, okay, thank you. Hung up. She escorted me to the front. Well, first of all, I'm kind of skipping a few things. They said, how come he doesn't have a valid ID? So she said, sir, how come you have a valid ID? So my response was, this is a valid ID. She said, he said it is a valid ID. Then Bob said, well, blah, 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 hung up. Then there was a piece of paper, I signed it. They escorted me to the front, and I got on the plane. So since I knew this, I got on that plane. Because what if they said, how come you have a valid ID? And I'm all timid, don't want to send on my birthright. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Then I wasn't getting on that plane.
It is valid.
It is valid. How about that? Oh, well, hey, Bob, this is valid.
So why'd you have to
Huh?
some landmarks and stuff?
Because they want to show them like terrorists. Because they're not used to more standing on their birthright. They're used to good old niggers showing their Rhode Island ID and their Massachusetts ID. They get on the commercial plane because they're niggers. Not exercising their birthright because they don't know who they are. I'm not talking down on our people. I'm showing you how they see us.
Yeah,
they're not used to us standing on our birthright. They said, we're used to Indian tribal IDs, but not this. I said, well, I'm not an Indian. Because this ain't India. And you'll see proof. I'm not just running my mouth. That's proof from, what was it, Southwest Airlines, I think? With my free national name. I also have pictures of me on the plane with the feds on. I didn't post that yet because people lying saying, well, that's not real. He showed a U.S. government ID after he resigned. Because I don't have. So I just let people run their mouth and then show people what it is. Because how could I get on that plane under that name and then show them an ID with a different name if the plane ticket says that name? But people don't think. They're dumb, right? So that's dealing with valid ID. Then, so like when Brother O.T. Bay got pulled over, they said, well, in the state of Maryland, you need a blah, 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 right? So let's show them, if you're in the so-called state of Rhode Island, you need a Rhode Island issue, driver license, for my name, Bob, blah, 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 shut up. You show, well, according to Rhode Island General Laws 3110-2, number 4, person is exempt from licensing. Persons exempt from licensing. You see this? All right, so let me show you for the record. It says Rhode Island General Laws, right? That's what that says, so I'm not making it up. Title 31, right? 10-2, right? Persons exempt from licensing requirements. Number 4, any non-resident. What does resident mean? Using etymology. What does resident? This is why it's so blurry. Don't say nothing. You have the thing. Use it for the first time. So cool. Hey, what does this word mean?
You're standing right in front of the camera.
Oh, my booty meat?
Mm-hmm.
Res is what? What does res mean? A thing. Indent. Ident. A thing identified. Resident is a thing identified. So anything not identified who is at least 18 years of age, which would be us. So since we're not citizens of Rhode Island, because Rhode Island is a European colony, and a corporation, which was incorporated in 1832, we're not considered a thing identified in their system. Because if you go to Rhode Island stuff, you look up Jamal Talibo Abdullah Bay, you will not find anything in their system because I'm not a citizen of Rhode Island. You see how we're non-residents? Because we're not things identified. We're humans. Whose home state or country. Now, what's the name of this country? Morocco. Definitely not the United States. So clearly, they're talking about a different jurisdiction. Whose home state or country does not require the licensing of operators may operate a motor vehicle as an operator only for a period of not more than 90 days in any calendar year. If the motor vehicle so operated is duly registered in the home state or county of that non-resident. But this only applies to drivers. Does that make sense? We're not driving. We're traveling. But we can still use this because we're non-residents of their crap. So if any policy enforcer, how come you don't have a Rhode Island license? You say, well, Rhode Island General Laws 3110-2, I'm exempt. Per your laws, then standard citation res judicata, all men are independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. He's not bound by any institutions formed by his fellow men without his consent. So if you're not a citizen of Rhode Island, then clearly their crap don't apply to you. But if you think you were born in Rhode Island, you were born in Rhode Island Hospital, Rhode Island's your mother, then they're going to force their laws on you. So you hit them with their own crap. Yes?
So what about the vehicle? What if it's not in your trust and it's actually their property?
Then it's theirs. Then they can do whatever they want.
So that rule only applies to
This is to
you
protect
as
your
a
physical
human.
body, which everyone's concerned with their physical body.
Right.
That's what all of this stuff is to protect our physical bodies.
So they can take the vehicle.
Yeah, take it because it ain't yours. We still have to deal with that, but let's deal with protecting our physical bodies first, because that's more important than a car. You can live without a car. It's called a bus. It's called Chevrolegs. You can't afford Chevy, but you can bone some Chevrolegs, right? So we need to realize that this world that we live in is fake, meaning a certificate of title does not mean you own a car, so just accept the fact that you don't own it. Accept that if they take their property, it's theirs. Just accept it, because that's what it is. Let's just accept reality, and then we'll deal with this a lot easier.
But in reality, we're trying to fight for that car.
But it ain't yours. You can't fight for something that's not yours.
Saying, in reality, this is how we're going to be thinking. If we don't know, but
Yes.
we don't know,
Mhm.
I ain't going to take my car. I need that for transportation. That's
Yeah.
mine. I'm paying
But-
for it.
That
But
comes.
now it's not
You learn how
yours,
to,
Yes.
you learn how to protect
because
that.
their eyes are not open to see that it's not there.
Now, all of that is part of genocide, because if you look up the definition of genocide, it's implementing things to either bring out a sudden destruction or things that are gradually set up to bring out the destruction of a people. So if you can't go to work and provide for your children, they're committing genocide on you. So if all people say, all right, you're going to take our cars? All right, let's just imagine there's more than 20 of us in this room. Say there's 1,000. All right, since they took all of our cars, hey, International Court, they're committing genocide over here. I bet you they'll react real quick. But no, we're like, they take my car. I'm not gonna go to work. I'm not erase this. Instead of suing them for genocide, how about that? Put on your big boy shoes, fix them up. They might be a little dirty, but you can come help. Because our women are being affected by this. Our women, not just the men, our women. And all of them, I'm a strong black God. I'm a comedic pharaoh. We all used to be kings and queens. Well, the glory of the king is the welfare of his people, so why are you letting your women suffer? We need to slap our men real quick. Take their skirts off. Put pants on.
But is there a remedy, when you talk about the vehicle, that you can convert
Yeah,
it
there
to a
is.
legal title, right?
Yes, you can.
That's what I was.
It's not illegal.
You have to claim it. Claim it.
And you have to put it on trust.
Yeah, put it in your trust.
That's what I want to learn.
Yes.
So then they would take it.
Now, once you do that, no majority gave all grand chiefs and governors the power to create and enforce laws, right? Now, who enforces law? The people. So if our people ain't standing by our side, we enforcing crap. We're just talking. Because our people think we're going to complain to the so-called beast, and then the beast is going to hold their own beast accountable for doing their beastly actions because we're stupid. How about we say, we're going to hold your people accountable to our laws. How about we do that? But in order for that to happen, we have to know what our law is. We have to know who we are.
Well, 1,000 voices are better than one.
And one, exactly. That's why Noble Drew said, well, there's unity, there's strength. Now, I'm going to do the things to be read at every meeting since it got brought up. I always start off with caveat emptor because dirty Moors try to say, well, this person got in this situation because Taj Street Bay gave them knowledge. Because they're stupid. Instead of blaming the colonizer and these people committing acts of genocide on our land, they're going to blame the Moors who are freeing people's minds because they're stupid. And they're dirty. Because only a dirty person will say, oh, it's your fault that that person got killed by that person. When that's the one who obviously took that person's life. Right? So caveat emptor, may the buyer beware. So if you're going to do anything, and you see how many people are in this room, and how much power we have, and you're going to do something that requires more than the people in this room, that's on you. Especially if you don't know what to say, that's on you. So don't be stupid, please. Being stupid is a choice. So, to be read at every meeting, caveat emptor. Moors are men. What does men mean?
Mind.
Mind, to think. So Moors are thinkers. Upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with insidious plans to invade such a realm. They try and try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They're the vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction. And having traveled over the roads years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they're on the same road with true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle, where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above seated plotters, purveyors, the worst that exist, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth, the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. And if we look at Moorish history, you will see us fighting each other. Look at the movie Belly with DMX and Nas. They told DMX to kill the Reverend guy using our own people. Look at El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, Malcolm X, our own people. Look at Noble Drew Ali, our own people. Because we don't got allegiance to our own people. Because your nationality also determines who you have allegiance to. Imagine that. That's why black people shoot their brother for stepping on their shoes. I went to middle school with someone who did that. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, They're working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so that they may take charge of the situation. I've notified all of these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moors movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize them. Your divine prophet, noble driver. So let me just show you on camera who the prophet is of this movement. Who the head of this movement is. It's not Jamal. It's not you. This man. Go and tell camerawoman, can you please focus? Good. Does everyone know what the prophet looks like? You leaving? No. Everyone. What the prophet looks like. Right? This is the man that freed us. Well, self-freed you, but he helped. Right? To the members of the Moor Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the man I just showed you. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is on now, but the weak can comprehend it not. Now, where's the closest place to find Allah? Your heart. Now, as we're doing this, don't doubt for 1 second that other nations are not watching. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, least they would be confounded of their sins. As an example. Let's say I was a noodle-spined person, for lack of a better word, right? I didn't have a backbone. And I realized that I've been wrong by calling myself black for 24 years or whatever. And then since I've been saying it for 24 years, instead of facing the fact that I was wrong, I just continue with the fraud. That's an example. So imagine how all these so-called black leaders have been promoting this black crap for years. And all these so-called Indian leaders have been promoting this Indian crap for years. And then we expose them. That's why they hide. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving. They're trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. So what is the foundation of this movement? The minds of the people. Yes, that's what you just said. The minds of the people. Because the universe is mental. If you want to build a house, you have to know how to do it. If you want to free yourself, you have to know how to do it. Because someone outside of self can't do it for you. Don't be blaming other people for what you're in or what we're in. If we don't come together and fix it, it won't get fixed. If you keep looking at that doorknob and it's hanging off, and you're just like, I wish someone would fix that. And you don't fix it. Right? But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. So whenever you see Moors talk about, well, how come those Asiatic women wear white feathers? Well, if you read the Quran, it says we can have our own customs in our own temples. So if our women decide to wear white feathers because white means purity, and they're our God, then they can do that. And if all the men in our little temple agree that we're going to wear white tassels because white means purity, We're honoring our women, and that's what we're going to do. Also, the Noble Ali established the Supreme Grand Council, who's the only body that can say what's injurious and what's not injurious to the Moorish Science Temple of America. If they're not a member of that body, then guess what they should do? Shut up. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest. And the ones that speak against your divine national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, the divine prophet, Noble Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be a severe consequence. We're for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings towards the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their carding button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found them. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Peace. And of course, if you have race pride and love your race, and you think your conditions can be better, join the Moorish Science Temple of America, because then you will know who you are and who your forefathers were. And where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. This is a field open to all strong men and women. If the Europeans and other nations are helping us, why not you? Because when we went to court for that war, there was a European woman there riding and dying with us. So if the Europeans helping us, why not you? The Negro problem is your problem. We're the ones getting killed. Right? You want to take a break? Break? 5-10 minutes. So be back at, we'll do 12:45. Good? 12:45.
Do you want me to leave the video running?
No, I'll answer some questions. We'll go down specifically. You doing stick figures? Crayons? It's hydrogen and oxygen. 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen.
If anybody in the chat on the live has any questions, now's the time to ask. Check Barack Obama's Executive Order 13603. It's a comment, not a question.
You want to look it up? Naimira. How you doing?
What's going on, Jamal?
Let me just really quick. Establishing visa and foreign visitor processing bureaus. What is it? 13.5 what?
13603.
National Defense Resource Preparedness. I'm not gonna read it right now, but I'm just gonna.
Y'all don't like my camera? Give it back.
Excuse me.
I don't have the wire for it.
Why? I gotta get it to charge it.
This one. No, so I can actually. But I did.
I think it takes HDMI.
Yeah, this is specific to each one because I'm.
Oh, busy.
That's a Nikon. But I am looking for the wire, so I can use it for when Cujo comes.
She?
Hold on. Oh, sorry.
Don't apologize.
Oh yeah. Well, I meant to apologize, not say sorry. Sorry means feel sorry. I apologize for being preoccupied.
You lucky I wasn't there.
No.
You lucky I wasn't there.
I know they're lucky you. One of Rod's brothers, he was there.
He cut the phone off. Like, why? I'm good. That would have been serious if I was the.
They wasn't about to keep me in there.
Was Chucky in there? What's his name?
The dude with the mustache?
Yeah.
With the blonde hair. He walked in and then he walked out.
Oh, because I definitely would have been gun ho for that.
No, it was the guy that was there last time when he was like, guys, just put the phone away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he switched it up after I was like, you're not gonna touch. You're not gonna put your
that guy
hands
was
on her.
there.
Any other questions?
All the regulars.
The regulars. Hey, what's up, Fred?
I guess they thought we were gonna be. Oh, they're gonna be quiet and humble. No, there's some of us that will attack you.
I'm gonna die for this.
Exactly.
Because he who knows his higher self knows of the things that.
Man, brother, your people make them. Oof.
What is that? Kenton?
In Onlyville?
Ghana. Wait, what?
I got this in Onlyville from a queen from the motherland. I don't know her name. No, I don't know where's that lady. Tony, do you know where that lady's from? That made this stuff?
Oh yeah, by the way, we got a brother from Ghana here who knows he's a Moor. Just saying.
That's what's up. I asked this Puerto Rican lady. She was like, he ran the hat. I was like, nah, it's not a hat. But she was like,
are the Moorish communities to thy
told I was more.
What does that mean?
She's like, more.
Oh, live community.
You say it when you call them. You say it's black person.
Well, there's been a few Moors that's been calling me to ask about moving up here. But
she was like, I'm a researcher.
That's huge. That's someone's entire family. But the more people that we get out here, the stronger we are. And these people don't want to see me. And that's not my ego or nothing. Ask him. Ask her. They don't want to see me. So if the people's backing us, it's just I'm the head guy. That's it. It's not Jamal's movement. It's
Need some solidarity.
Yeah.
So
they need to see. They need to be fearful because of the love that we have for each other. That's what they need to see. And we need to get, just like the Nation of Islam is doing, how they got men who are volunteered to be trained. Because I was in the Marines and I know how to train. I was a coach. I know what I'm doing. We just need our men to agree. So, all right, we'll gladly listen to what you're saying. We'll gladly learn how to do right face, how to march. But we need volunteers. Yes.
Someone said they was assaulted in a holding cell. They won't send the video. Would I need to make an affidavit and enforce law?
Of course. Always speak with your affidavits. Always put it on the record no matter what. It doesn't matter. Oh, are you this person, aka this? No, I'm not, aka crap. This is who I am. This is what you're doing to me. And get their names. If you're going to get their last name, don't matter. Just get any name. Fred did it.
Is there anyone that who is submitted to the quit rent affidavit and is in the process of or are living rent-free? Peace and love, Morris.
I was helping someone in New York. She's a woman, but I'm not going to say her name because there's a chance that she's watching. I'm not just going to put her private information. But she's still in the apartment. I signed it as the counsel. Nailed to the papers in so-called New York. Still there.
What's the location you send the nationality paperwork to?
We don't have a PO box yet, and I can't give out my ass to everybody. So if you help us get a building, then we'll have a mailing location so we can do more work. Or just send your physical bodies up here, move here, then we'll claim a building, and that'll be our temple. And ain't nobody kicking us out of our temple on our homeland.
How can I get rent free? I'm trying to move into an apartment in Charleston.
Analyze, learn the law, visit riseofthemoors.org, look up writs, look up quick rent, get you a law book, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, get you the Constitution, federal Constitution, and the Constitution for the state that you're in. And caveat emptor. It's on you. I mean, you. You want to get a swoop of the room? Sleep. Show everybody. Fezzed up. Fezzed up.
Bad. Oh, yeah. Joel, brother.
Joel?
Yes. Nice to meet you.
Where are you located?
Your property?
We are located in the Nahegantic territory. They fraudulently brand Rhode Island. Rhode Island is a colony. That is not the name of the land. The name of the land is Nahegantic territory, and we have maps to prove it. And we can go straight to the map department in City Hall and prove the same thing.
My affidavit of status has been accepted with record of live birth within and is also filed for the court of records.
Great
Statement.
No, but they don't get the paper.
When I get an ID card, I can show the top booth and airport and fly for free or no.
Well,
He's asking if he can fly for free with his identification
I
card.
don't know. I paid for the plane ticket using Federal Reserve notes. I used my PayPal. I didn't use any credit card associated to no straw name. I used PayPal because South by Southwest Airlines accepts PayPal. And I typed in multiple bit. Then I got on the plane. And that was it.
But you learn UCC and stuff like that? Contracts and stuff.
That's a contract. I tell him in Messenger. Is 25% of this.
More questions?
It's not a first.
How can I check out one of the brothers' quick claims, and what is the original name of Fort Kentucky?
Go to any library in Kentucky and look up the history of Kentucky, and it'll tell you. You can also go to House of Reawakening Minds on Facebook and ask Dr. Naila for the flash drive, and they have a copy and template of the quit claim deed. If you're looking for a quit rent deed, go to riseofthemore.org. Your camera battery is flashing.
How can I get a passport without using my social?
How can you get a passport? Well, if you look up the United States codes on passports, they'll say passports shall only be issued to those who have allegiance to the United States. So if you would like a Moorish passport, help support the Moorish American consulate so we get more work done. That's how you can get a passport.
I'm not even. I'm trying to skip through like negative stuff.
Are they saying I'm ugly and stuff?
No. Somebody's coming at one subscriber is coming at another. Where do I go to City Hall to find the original name of Cleveland, Ohio?
You can go to their maps department.
Yeah, that's where I went. No, actually, I went to the library in City Hall, and then the clerk emailed me, and copied me a physical copy of the map. Do I make a record of live birth and put it on the record for a new baby?
You don't have to. So if you get my book on trust law, I put in case law that states that there's a difference between an individual and a corporation. The former, meaning individual, does not have to produce any records whatsoever. That's in the Constitution, the right to be secure in your personal effects and papers. You don't tell nobody crap, right? The latter, meaning the corporation, has to submit their records. So if I have a child, I don't have to tell nobody nothing. That's my baby. It's my property. You need to know how many people domicile in my house. So no, you do not. The birth record is for your lineage, so your family can trace where they're from. Okay, proof that this person is a part of this bloodline, so is an heir to this bloodline. That's what that's for. It has nothing to do with telling nobody nothing. It's for your family.
Do you know of any Moors in Teysas, Teyyshas, aka Texas?
Texas, yes.
We were just asked that question last night.
She was here yesterday, actually. Yeah, she just left this morning. I have her email. Wait, I don't want to give her email out.
If you want to direct message Instagram or
kicking my shoes.
Sorry. If you want to direct message Instagram or Facebook, then we can see if that person is willing to be in contact with you. If you want to leave your name and number in a DM, not on here. And also if anybody else wants to name their territory so you guys can get together and start studying together.
Anybody from the Connecticut territory up there?
Anybody from Connecticut?
At least from Connecticut.
Somebody is looking for study buddies.
Why you so weird?
What's
Weird. Don't say that.
You want to be my study buddy?
We're looking for missionaries. That's what we're looking
Oh,
for.
yeah? Say it with your chest.
Study buddy, yeah.
My study buddy.
Actual site called Study Buddy.
What's
What are you doing in that course?
What's the first step to changing my status, i.e. the European name?
The first.
This is a commonly asked question.
Status, your knowledge is the status. So the first step, you can visit rvbaypublications.com. You can continue to watch my videos. You can watch Taj Street Bay's videos. You can watch Cujo Avo L's videos. You can watch Rami Salam L's videos. You can watch Moreno Bay's videos. You can go to rosamores.org. You can get my book, Are You Confused About Law? That is being sold on rosamores.org. That's how you can start. You want to say something?
No, I said House of Brown.
House of Reawakening, yes. House of Reawakening Minds.
Guys.
You can go to House of Reawakening Minds on Facebook. Also, they go live on Facebook. You can get Brother Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey's book called Moors and Masonry. You want to come on camera and show everybody that you're here? Special guest. Any other questions?
How can I stop paying property tax? It's been old for some time
Look who
now.
we have here.
How to Mama. Hey.
And son.
And son. Right. How to son.
You don't want to say something?
What is your name?
I don't have a name. I have a name.
Squad goals.
What's your appellation? Tell me. Look in the camera. Tell everybody your appellation. You got to speak louder.
It's the A-Hot Albay.
Albay. And I'm Jamila Albay.
Thank you for coming. All right, so
Thank you.
where were we?
Property taxes.
Property taxes.
Old for quite some time. How does he?
So who's claiming that you owe them taxes? Because if they're not an original person, an Aboriginal person, if they're not an heir to the estate, if they are European and they're foreigners, and they're probably with the so-called city or maybe the IRS, then Diversified Metal Products versus Tebow Company and the IRS and some other guy.
Jamal.
Yeah.
Tell them we're working on that paperwork too. We should have.
What the quit rep?
For not just the quit.
Oh, for the taxes? Yeah, but they're talking about specifically property tax.
Okay, all right.
So if the so-called city is asking you to collect the taxes from you, as an example, if you're in so-called Rhode Island, you go to the Rhode Island State Constitution, Article 13, Section 5. It says no city or town may levy, assess, or collect taxes unless authorized by the General Assembly. Then you also tell them you're not a citizen of that state, so they can't collect taxes from you.
How would you suggest we design our trust seal?
Whatever the group agrees. Like I'm having Brother Jamal, not me, a different Brother Jamal, design the seal. I came up with the idea. I told him what my idea was because he's an artist. Then I showed it to the group. I said, do you all agree? They said, yes. That's how you do it. Remember, thought, we're gods, we can do whatever we desire. We just need consent of our people because it's about us. So if you look over here, you see the circle in the 7.
Everybody online also has been telling the entire group Islam.
Islam.
I want to I can't pick up the camera. I kind of want to go on tour, you know what I'm saying?
You can't.
MTV Cribs.
You can't.
MTV Cribs at the temple out here.
You can't leave here.
Look at all these beautiful Moors. Can you stand up? You're short.
Short?
Well, you're just short.
No.
That's good. Look at all these fezzes, all this melanin.
Look at all these dictionaries.
All these dictionaries.
We got the jurisdiction going on over here.
Upright, independent, and #fearless.
Definitely fearless. We running up on Sheriff's in the courthouse.
What's up? What you doing? You got the shoes on.
That, you've been coming in sauced up.
You want to be on camera? Remember, like,
Let's go. I'm gonna be behind you.
Brother Khalid did it. At all times. Nationality birthrights.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the one standing like this.
If you want to get to me, you gotta go through him first. What if I poked him and he did like the
Ow! Owie.
teddy bear security?
I know.
Try it if you want. Don't
He also needs a study buddy.
Oh God. We're gonna get kicked out.
I know.
You don't want no smoke with the Moors out here.
Kendra Matthews says she misses us already.
Oh, she's the one in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Exposed.
I mean, well, it's there for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh. Slack.
It should be upside down.
It is?
Yeah. So yeah, it's upside down. The nation is under duress.
Oh yeah, there.
If you do not know, a Moore's brother was kidnapped yesterday.
So what happened with him? Did they say they're establishing that whole, not establishing, but
They forced a straw name on him.
He allowed them to do that though.
No, he said, well, they did say AKA this.
Right.
He did not say anything, but he just kept saying, I'm Khalifa Bey.
Yeah, he should have objected to that.
And he attempted to hand them the Moorish American consulate papers. We just need a force to say, get him out yesterday.
Right.
But if we don't show up, then clearly they're gonna be like, well, all right.
He had him. He had him.
I don't know yet.
He had him.
His wife is gonna keep me updated.
I'm glad she didn't pay that money.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Because they had that whole.
No, everybody's just saying they love the energy. They love the group. They love the energy.
Love you too. Feel free to donate your physical body by coming up here to domicile up here and help increase our voice. Because we don't really want your notes. We need your physical bodies. We need manpower. We don't need notes. We need manpower. Because our energy is what the notes are based off of.
So, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, off camera. So if you want to know about stuff that we talk about off camera,
you gotta be here.
Come to class.
Yeah.
Because of us, all members must proclaim their nationality.
So I was bit by 2 service animals at the airport after claiming my nationality. How would I file suit against the property and the dog owner?
Sue them.
Yep.
Sue them.
Is it good to show your Moorish ID if you get pulled over?
I did. So yes, I'm still alive.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Suda, but how do you go about? That's the thing I'm trying to figure out now. How do you go about a class action suit? Or is that?
If you want to go about a class action suit, you have to get more people involved.
Oh, so that's okay. But what if I want to individually sue them?
Then you can sue. You can sue them.
Got pulled over by
If you want to sue them in their venues, you have to agree to their laws because they're the ones controlling stuff.
Right.
I'm going through something.
Yeah. Because I just don't know how, and that's just the problem.
That is
Like
the
you
problem.
said, in order to know, you gotta be here for class. So.
You mean against the policy enforcement? Or?
Yes. Exactly.
Oh well, no, I'm not going through nothing about that. I'm going through a suit.
So
it's not against.
If you want to go sue anyone,
yes,
any improper person, then you know about diversity of citizenship, and you know that it has to be a U.S. district court, United States district court for the district of whatever so-called state. But there has to be consulate state.
See, that's
it has to be consuls have to be present.
Learned a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So
So we're establishing that here, but we also have to teach the people. You have a nationality, and we might want to protect ourselves.
What establishes a consul? Like what
the people?
Like is there like
has to be a
general number or general?
Well, yeah, but what nation has 3 people?
No, I'm saying I know that, but I'm just saying like as far as like say brother did, file a suit in the U.S. District Court, and they'd be like, "What's the council?"
So now you're talking about logistics, manpower, a plan.
Right. And then, so what if he was in court? Who would be considered his counsel? Like just everybody that shows up?
Yeah. But it better be organized. So you better have a council head. So one person speaking. You better have muftis. Everybody better know what their position is.
Right.
So if there's a magistrate there, and the magistrate says, "Well, let me see your counsel," you better know who that is. And if the sheriff wants to speak to the security, you better know who the top mufti is or the grand mufti is. So we need to have an organized body. Because then we go in there exactly knowing what we're doing, and then we become the tip of the spear.
How do you get a grant from the Republic government for books and buildings or transportation?
If you want a grant from them, you have to go through their stuff. But what I suggest is teaching your people that in the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, it says the state shall take appropriate measures, shall take effective measures, and where appropriate, special measures to ensure that indigenous people economics get increased. So that's them funding things. So we approach them like that, not saying we need a grant, because they can't grant us crap.
Right, but if you ask them for the help, they should give you the help.
Yeah, but didn't Noble Drew say a beggar nation cannot reach its highest in spirituality. So if you're asking them, you're begging. We're telling them. Reparations.
So they're supposed to help you then.
If you tell them, but if you don't know you're a Moor, and then you saying, "Yes, I'm from the Moorish nation," and there's 3 of you, they're gonna look at you, and say,
"What I'm saying is like you're saying, if you tell them that they are forced to help you."
Yes, but if the will of the people doesn't demand it, now what's law?
By the state.
Who's the state? The people. If the will of the people does not demand it, because the people don't know, we will not get everything that we keep saying that we lack.
The power that they have is not real. It's they some way made it. They reversed it. You know what I'm saying? Like it tells you right there, we the people, but they stand up there like they're the bosses, but they're not. Yes, definitely.
So
we just have to know that.
Once we start being ourselves and being our government and have an election and say we desire this person to represent us, we desire these group of people to protect us, then we get people to volunteer. Because if we're gonna have a mufti, we need people to volunteer. I can't just pour out, they're gonna be a security, people have to volunteer. So we don't have any volunteers. We get shit done. Excuse my language. Because when I show up to court, mosey on down there. But I volunteer to speak on that Moor's behalf and go behind bars for that Moor because he's my brother. I volunteer to do that. I'm not getting paid to do this. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we need our people to realize that this is our lives. Yes. Either you're gonna sacrifice something or you're not. And if you don't, shut up. So stop. I'm not trying to be.
I think most importantly is you enjoy it as well.
Yeah, because Rome don't want no smoke.
No, they don't.
They don't. Our people, I'm banging on the beast, and then they go pay the IRS. What you banging on? What you banging on? I'm General so-and-so. How many people you train? What training do you have? And our people eating it up like it's empire. Oh, look, he really said that. He said committed. Like, shut up. Go to court, speak to freaking Patrick Burke, and son him in front of a woman and her 14-year-old son and inspire the holy zeal in that young man. Do that. Can you say cowards? Black people are cowards. I'll say it for the camera. Black people are cowards, and my name is Jamal Talib Abdullah Bey. I'll put something on.
My name is Joel Sadiq Bey, and I'll prove that message.
Well, if you ain't black, you shouldn't be offended.
Yeah, exactly. So let's kind of go back to point, because I know we like to joke around because a lot of this stuff kind of sucks because we are under military occupation and we are going through genocide by the day. But if we're going to get any reparations, repair a nation, we can't ask for grants because that's asking for something as if they can grant it to us. The entire landmass is ours. What we tell them is, when we get this building, You better not sick your dogs after us. Because our prophet said, if someone, I'm paraphrasing, if someone's trying to harm you, flee from them. If you can't, drop the world on them. And since this is our land and we can't flee nowhere, if they try to do what they did in so-called Black Wall Street, we have the right to defend ourselves. It's called self-preservation. We got children. We got nieces and nephews. And some of us got to take care of our grandparents. So if we're not there, who's going to do it? So I'll be there if you're going to do something to me, my children, my prosperity, my people. You're going to see me. Any other questions?
There's a comment from, I'm not even going to say it. I want someone to start their own international patent office so I can put some patents in it and give the Moorish movement 49% ownership. But somebody else started it, but you're going to get 49%.
That's like saying, I'm going to go ahead and authenticate Jamal's book. Right.
49%.
Good idea, though. Come George Moore, sign something, man. Any other questions? What time is it? Is everyone back? We're supposed to start in a few minutes. So, any other questions? Just throw something out there, we can talk about it. Or we can talk off camera.
Okay.
Yes.
You were saying that about the license, you said, not the license, but you said if you already had like a record and you got your thumbprint.
That's how they're claiming jurisdiction. Because they're claiming, okay, we got a runaway slave and we caught.
Right.
Now, say if you took your own thumbprint
And put them on your nationality card?
Well, not even just that, but say like a document that you filed in a trust or something.
So now you're talking about government.
Right.
Because trusts don't exist on their own. You coming to me, that's a trust. Us being in this room, that's a trust. Me showing up for Khalifa Bey, that's the trust in action. It's the people. So you placing your identity in the trust is us being like, what you talking about? You talking to this Moor, not talking to us alone.
Right.
You're right.
Right.
That's what that is.
Exactly.
But the people have to know.
So say that brother did get kidnapped, right? And they processed him, and we came down and we was like, yo, this is his file that we have.
That's what we attempted to do. That's what we attempted to do. But there's only one of me. And if we're gonna go to district court, right? All y'all, let's go to district court. Then we get to district court. Oh yeah, where's your ID? And I show them my nationality card. Well, you don't have one. You don't have one. You don't have one. You don't have one. And who's going in there alone? Yeah. So how are we a nation?
Exactly. It's true.
You're talking about all this remedy, but we don't want a nationality card. So I was in the Marines, right? We had a boot camp, and the drill instructor was yelling at us saying, do this, do that, do this, do that. We were tired, so we were moving on slow. So then he took us to the sand pit. You don't want to go to the sand pit. And it was black flag. And if you're in the Marines, you know what that is. You ain't lasting 10 minutes in that sand pit without dying, right? So George was like, oh, so y'all want to be killers, right? But you don't want to move fast. So good, push. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to look for this remedy, but we don't want to do shit.
Right, exactly.
Excuse my language. We want to sue them, but then we don't want to stand on our birthright talking about I'm Morris fed up all day, every day. Here's my nationality card. We're going to district court and we're suing the crap out of them. Well, you want to have a Rhode Island license.
The issue with that, I still do have a license, but I heard about putting everything in trust, about your books and stuff. So I'm up here to find out more about it.
Yes.
Then want to get them back their license.
Yes.
I nationalized in 2016.
Now, you're absolutely right. But we need to provide jobs for our people. Because if we're dependent on Rome because our people still want to be black and not help each other with a living situation, and that's what you have to do. Right. Because we're forced to. So the problem is bigger than what we think. Because who are you gonna work for? Right. Then you're gonna starve? No, you're gonna have to work for Rome until people wake the hell up.
I'm just trying to figure out how to go about that process.
We all are. And I found the conclusion it's all the same answer. We need our people to wake up. Because if you're out of a job and you can't pay whatever you think you need to pay, since our people don't want to wake up, who's going to be near you? Who's going to fight for you? Who's going to fight with you? Yeah, that's the problem. I'll be there.
It sounds hard, but
it's not.
It sounds. But look what's happening. You're here. Yep. He's here. This queen's here. I never seen all y'all. I seen him at the courthouse, and he's here. I I never seen this sister before. She's here, and it's working.
Right.
If you're looking, it's working.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Our people are waking up. Remember before, our people ain't work. They use hip hop music. They use everything. They use everything to keep us buried.
We need to do the same thing.
We are rising of the Moors.
Yeah.
It is happening. They cannot stop it. It's not going to stop.
Nope.
So yeah, he wants it just the process to be now. Godspeed, right now.
Right.
But I also know that our people need to have a place to domicile. And there's some of us in this room, but there's also more Moors out there who don't know where to go. So we need to say, hey, we exist here. So we just keep getting stronger. So and then so I don't mean to cut you, but the way I see it is we claim a building as a body.
Yeah.
Are we in here? So I'll do whatever we start doing temple work. They were like, they really don't want any smoke with us. All right, since they don't want no smoke, go ahead and claim your house. Oh, you good? All right, they ain't bothered? Okay, good. Okay, yeah, now you do the same thing. Oh, you ain't get bothered? All right, good. Now you do the same thing. And then once that keeps happening, people are like, oh, it's actually working? They're going to keep showing up, and then there's more of us, and that can't stop.
I think that's the biggest thing, is that people need to see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They want to, because like where I'm from, everybody that know me, they'll tell you, he white. He already know. Like, I tell everybody, like, I'm a free white person. I know that I'm from my ancestors descend from Morocco. I was wearing, I got a Moroccan soccer jersey, and I don't know if I had my fez or kufi on. I went to the gas station, and the Arab, he was like, "You from Morocco?" I said, "My ancestors, yeah, from Morocco." And he just looked like, he gave me this, like, his expression and demeanor changed. Like, he deflated a little bit, and then he gave me this, like, he smiled. He just gave me his handshake that was just like, I know you know who you are.
So they codify that in Masonry as free and accepted. That's what he just did. He showed you free and accepted. Because you have a nationality, meaning you're free. And you're accepted because the world recognizes nationality. That's free and accepted. Yeah.
I've been getting the opposite, man. I've been getting them Europeans, man, they look at me and they're like,
they fear that.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're a threat.
I get that.
We are a threat to their existence right now. They ain't from here. No joy. They said they 3,000 miles from where they from.
Yep.
So for them to see that, it's like, damn, you might have to get swimmers.
Because you represent the Mufti waking up.
I was in New York system, you know, late night after work, and I walked in there, and there was this European lady, and there was this older gentleman, he was her husband, and he was helping her out. He went to the street to help her out of her vehicle. And when he came inside, she walked up to me, she said, you know, your headpiece, and when she said that, she tipped it all off, right? She tipped it all off that. For me, I'm always on hyper alert. So, and I listen, I listen to things. So when she said headpiece, this European woman, I automatically knew she knew something, you know, different. So she said, it reminded me of the Shriners. And when she said that, my shoulders dropped. I felt like cold because I knew, I don't know, my senses told me that her husband was probably a Shriner. He was an old geezer. And I was like, no, I said, no ma'am. And she apologized to me for if I offended her, but my wife said, because she see my expression, you know, my whole, disgusted, Shriner. I didn't do that. I just basically told her, nah, I'm the original.
Yeah, right.
And I said, they know what it is. And that's all I said. And, you know.
You see this? That's what he gives them. So, yeah, they're afraid. Like,
You want to come up here so they see how big you are again?
No, I'm saying without saying things. I can walk, and it's like, you notice when we were in the mall, right? I noticed everywhere I go, there's Masons everywhere. I don't care. There's Masons, there's Shriners everywhere. And it seems like I can spot them, man, and it's crazy because they start looking at me and they're like, they know. They don't look at me like, I wonder what he's wearing. They look at me like, no.
Yeah, because you walk around and then you start seeing knees shaking.
I had a European. I was at like a carnival, and I had my fez on, and he I didn't walk up to. We just passed by, and he was like, he asked me. He was like, he said, "Is that?" He said, "Is that something or religious?" I said, "It's religious." And he just was like they know, they know, you know what I'm saying? Like this is not no club. It's not part of a club. He knew that actually this is religious. Exactly.
Whenever our people ask me, I say it's national. Even though I know it's also religious, I say it's not religious.
Stay away from that.
Because the Europeans messed our people's minds up with dogma and religion. So I say it's national. It has nothing to do with religion. You let her join. You can just wear this whatever you want because it's your birthright. But because some people can't handle that religious thing because they think, because they don't know the difference between dogma and actual religion.
If you break it down, you tell them,
if they ask,
there's Indians or what they consider Indians, indigenous people before us that have fezzes on. Look at that. Look at them. They have fezzes on. It might not be this color, but there's people that would have
look at the old mess.
It's an old headdress. It goes back. National headdress. It goes back far.
But remember, there's no separation between church and state. There is no separation. There never was, and there never can be. The only thing is, there shall be no religious test. But that's not a separation. You know what I'm saying? I did it last week. Yes.
I just, you should just swing your tassels around. Let it go 360 around like that. They know that theirs is pinned down and yours is not. It happened the other day with him. We were in a convenience store, same thing with the Shriner, and the woman said, my father has a hat like that, with a tassel like that. And I said, no, your father, he's a Shriner. That's what she said. And I said, oh no, your father doesn't have a hat with a tassel like this. I said, your father's, and I just gave a little education. I said, your father's tassel is pinned down, and my son's tassel swings 360 degrees, and I just hung it around, and she was like, right, like,
my father's never
and it just went on with the day, like, okay,
it's hard to talk when you punch somebody in their soul.
That's what happens when you tell them they ain't white, they ain't American.
Just teach.
You took everything.
Somebody said you look like a 70s R&B singer. I know.
It's that Migos and Drake song.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
That was very helpful. Thank you. Just uplifted all humanity. So, anything else?
I'm sorry. The people from Delaware were asking, can you be more specific on the topics that he asked earlier? So I asked him to.
So he asked me about.
You be more specific. So.
That's your question. Yeah. So you asked me about the IDs. I showed you what makes our IDs valid. Well, how more specific do you want me to be? Because it says they recognize identification documents issued by foreign governments were foreign to them.
He said maybe discuss steps and measures specifically.
All right. So a lot of this is mental. So just read. That's the only thing that anyone can say.
Yeah, you got programming yourself.
Yeah, you have to realize that you can program your brain. Your brain, your mind is forced to become what you think. So if you think that you're free, you'll become free. If you desire to know about the identification card, you can go to rbbankpublications.com and read.
Print out the information.
You have to
carry it with you while you're traveling.
Just read it.
Somebody asks on the YouTube comments, where do the IDs come from? Same place.
You can go to rbbankpublications.com. Or if you all donate, it costs about 1,000 notes to get an ID maker. And if y'all support monthly dues, whatever, you can pay $1 a month. Help us. We can provide more things. Because a lot of people think that we're getting funded, and we're not. A lot of this comes out of my pocket. And I'm not balling.
Our pockets.
Yeah. We're trapping books out of her car. Selling books out of her car.
I got one ready to go.
Like she gets the alert on her phone that a book was purchased. She got a drift, print out a receipt from her car, go to the mailbox, Secret Service, I'm here to drop the package off, drop it off in the mail, and then go to work.
Mhm.
Like this ain't
Mhm.
something, I wake up, it's more Divine National Movement time. I'm definitely getting funded by our people because they know.
Yeah.
This is, I gotta answer a call at 4 a.m. because someone thinks that they know me. You can just call me at any time. Like this is
Even
everyday
Wednesday
life.
and Thursday night.
This is not like I don't get paid to do this.
Mhm.
Things cost finance. If you would like something done, donate so we can get something done. If you don't have any finance, bring your physical body and show that we have a force.
Yeah.
Then we can get things done.
That we get calls in the middle of the night. I
This-
leave work for this.
There's abandoned houses everywhere. You don't think Jamal said, let me just go in here and fix this up? I don't have no problem doing that. But you have children. You have children. You have children. You have children. I'm not going to put everyone's lives in danger when we don't even have an organized body to protect ourselves. So think like that.
Okay, so specifically on the theft of conveyance and what to do after it's been stolen and sold during the process of sending out our writ of nature, plus what to do when the sheriff didn't control the policy enforcers from invading our home and kidnapping our child. And the issue was the identification process that I'm not gonna put all that out there.
So get yourself a Moorish American Mufti force to protect you. Also, if they stole your property, you'd have to prove that you own it. So if you don't own that car, they didn't steal your property. They took theirs and you were in it.
What you say it was called again? It's called a manufacturer statement of origin.
Yes, the manufacturer statement of origin. If you do not have that, you can't take your car out this country, which means you don't own it.
But they're supposed to give that to you.
Do you
Not if you're their slave.
do you want to read this? Because there's other people in here that I don't want to bring on to live.
Yes. Look up a writ of repelling. But if you but if you don't own it, you can't get your property back if you don't own it. This issue is deeper than what we think. Once we stop thinking individually, look, what do I do? What do I do about my car? It ain't your car. What do we do to protect each other?
See, I was thinking about this too. Because you don't need the DMV to go buy a car.
No, you don't.
You don't need the DMV to bond it or insure it.
No, you don't.
We mess up and relinquish that right the second we go down there and fill out the application. So
and give it to them.
Exactly. So why not create our own Department of Auto Industry?
Yeah.
To trust. Exactly.
But hold on.
All right.
We don't need that yet.
Okay.
Because if you go to the car dealership, it has nothing to do with government at all.
Not at all.
If you're selling me a car, you better have the MSO or you lawfully can't sell that. So if I'm going to you to buy a car, here's the notes, let me get the MSO. But our people don't say that.
So we should be asking
they say,
for
let me get this
MSO
car and
every
then we get a
time.
certificate. And then we think we own it. You know what I'm saying? So the status, what you know, is automatically different. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The way you approach it has to be different.
That's exactly what you said.
But hold on, there's too many side conversations. We're on camera. So
So the state of mind that you're in is
yes.
give you the remedy.
So if you don't know to ask for an MSO, then you won't ask for it.
Right.
What,
So we were just, sorry about the sidebar, but we were just done with the MSO thing. If you doing month to month, basically they already have sold your MSO to the DMV.
if it's registered.
Right. So they basically, so now you have to go and get it from the DMV after you.
Because remember, the Department of Motor Vehicles, the head of that is appointed by the governor.
Right.
Who is the slave master. And in Christian Black Code 1724, anything that blacks own shall be the full property of their masters. That's what we're seeing. That's what we're dealing with. So once we organize as a body, then we say we're buying this car. And they say, no, you need a social security number and a round state ID. Oh, we do? Hey, counsel, since there's 1,000 of us here, Go ahead and call Gina Raimondo or whoever the governor is. Say this person who's registered to do business within your state of Rhode Island is giving us problems. Then since it's an international incident, and we have a mufti force, and they don't want no smoke, they're going to enforce the law.
Say no more.
So if you desire remedy, teach the people. Because we are not going anywhere without our people. Because how are you a nation with no people? So, these questions. Now, I don't want to give. I'm not trying to give y'all an attitude at all. So please don't think that. I'm trying to get you to stop thinking individually. Because when you go buy from that corporation, you're not speaking to an individual. When you go speak to the so-called governor, you're not speaking to an individual. So why do we keep saying, well, I, me, my? How about us? What are we going to do? When do we want to claim that building for us so we can do temple work for our people? How about that? How about we claim a building so we can create and enforce law and speak to the so-called governor and tell her, we're going to buy this car. And if you have any problems, don't worry. We got your bond number. And we're going to lien that bond. And we're going to send a copy to your insurance company. And we're going to get you that because you're losing money. These Europeans hate when you touch their pockets. So let's touch their pockets. What you got in here? What's that? Silver and leave that. So, let me read this question. The theft of conveyance. And what to do after.
Don't read the whole thing out loud.
Huh?
Don't read the whole thing out loud.
Yeah, gotcha. Stolen and sold during the process. So, how about this? I'll share what happened with the so-called car that I thought I owned, right? So, I had Nissan Rogue 2013. It was blue, smooth. Had a sports bike, cruising.
That's a soccer mom's car.
Shut up. I got it with my family in mind, because at the time my mom didn't have a car, my sister didn't have a car, just so you know. Because Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones.
You're like, my mom will look good in this.
And my nephew's car seat was in the back, staining it all up. Right? That's why I got the car, just so you know. So I learned those more science stuff. I was like, damn, I'm really committed. Right? So I decided to take the commercial plate off my automobile because they kept ticketing my automobile when I parked on the street because we have the right to park. So I was like, well, if they can't punch in a number on the commercial plate, then it doesn't get ticketed to anyone. Right? See how that works?
Yeah.
So I put private plates on the automobile. Been traveling for 3 months with it, no problems. Went to his baby shower, right? And during that baby shower, right, which was public, right? Policy enforcers traveling up and down, right? Then I pulling out in front of policy enforcers, they didn't do nothing. Skirt, what's up? Who's going, traveling, no problems at all. Then I was like, let me go to the House of Ram real quick. 5 hours in my automobile, cruising. Europeans recording me like, got to the House of Ram. You know, at the end of the class, I was like, look, Dr. Nail, I traveled plates. And she took a picture, posted it. And I traveled back 5 hours here. A week later, after I did that, got, national notoriety or whatever. Now I'm getting problems with policy enforcement. See how this is working? Then when you read Willie Lynch's letter, what to do with the rebellious Negro, you embarrass him. So they smashed the window, took the car that was theirs. But if you watch the video, it's on my YouTube. I don't hide nothing. I'm not afraid of Rome. Go to my YouTube. You'll see, you hear the Europeans. What's her name? Trisha McCarchio. Or Trish McCarchio. That's the woman who pulled me over in the video. Trish McCarchio, who works for Ehrlich J. Fox. These are the Europeans that did this, just so everyone knows. Ehrlich J. Fox and Trish McCarchio and Trooper Workman, those are the agents that smashed my window. So you hear them say, so the car is registered, right? Which means they have jurisdiction. See what I'm saying? So before they couldn't do anything, that's why they were standing around me. Then you hear them say in the background, so it is registered, meaning they have jurisdiction. That's when they smashed their window and took me out of their property. Then You know, they'll send me stuff in the mail. I have all these documents in my house, so I can show you if you want. I ain't scared of that. Send me all this stuff. I said, stop talking to me. I'm not a U.S. citizen. Then they stopped talking. Then Key Bank. So I told the CEO of Key Bank. I also told the agent who I so-called purchased the automobile from, who's an Asiatic. So I told them that Connecticut State Police or Marshal, whatever the hell they were, unlawfully took the vehicle that we're in a contract with. So I told them, you know, ex-relative strong name. I told them they have your stuff. Also CC'd Early J. Fox. I said, since they have your stuff unlawfully, Early J. Fox is taking on the debt, the so-called payment. He didn't rebut. Sent that to Key Bank CEO, Key Bank, right? Then Key Bank sends a message. We are in possession of your blah, 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 the car, whatever. We're going to sell it because you failed your whatever. You know, you failed to, you failed in your obligations, right? So I responded, I'm glad to know that you have automobile number, vehicle registration number, whatever, all stuff. You know, return it to me immediately. Also, since you're speaking of any type of contract that I violated, show me the contract. Also, return the car to me as soon as possible, fix the window that they broke, clean it up, and bring me the manufacturer statement of origin too. Then they didn't respond to that. They said, oh, we sold the vehicle. All right, cool. Well, we did unlawfully. So in contract law, I win. In contract law, I win. Does that make sense? Are we sure that makes sense?
Like how? Explain like how you won.
Because they failed to produce any contract. So what contract did I violate? Then I said, I'm not abandoning anything. And there's a lien on this car now.
So they discharged the debt, basically.
And I haven't been making any so-called payments on that car since they took it. Because since they took it, I told the bank that Early J. Fox has your property, so I'm not making any payments. And he did not rebut, which means what? And he was CC'd. It was sent to him, certified mail, which means what? He accepts it. It was theirs anyway. I just did it to protect myself. Tracking? That makes sense?
Yeah. But
sure?
I'm trying to, like, now I'm like going with another scenario. Say you did finance a vehicle, right? And you.
But what name was it under?
Yeah. Me personally, I financed my car under my national.
Then you have the right to contract.
Okay,
so whatever you agree to, that's what you agreed to.
Right.
But I didn't agree to be no man's property. Once I found out, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not that. Wouldn't leave it the hell alone. You know what I'm saying? So it alleviates that problem. Now, what you're talking about is a completely different problem. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not supposed to finance crap. Because it's on your land. And chances are it's from your resources. And they're foreigners. So go ahead and swipe that voucher card and give it to you. That makes sense? Yeah. You sure?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it needs to make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right, so let me get back. Hopefully that answers that. And it's a direct way, but it's not a direct way. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because it's not yours. It's theirs. So if they tell you whatever you need to do to get their property, then that's what you're gonna have to do if you want their property. So just let that situation, how much this sucks, fester. So we can get some energy to get the hell out of this. Right? Let me see. Also, the sheriff. So this is why we need to go. So he talked about why the sheriff doesn't do anything about politics. Now all of them are corrupt from the jump. So what we need to do is get their bond numbers, all of them, and their oaths, and lean them as a body. We need to go down to City Hall records or State House.
City Hall records?
Find it, yes.
Like I'm saying, I'm gonna show you the email too where I sent that email and requested that judges. I was like, I'm about to request every judge, every sheriff, having to send it.
So this is kind of it's not an end of the court, everything that they're doing to us. And we try to sue them and then we can't because they're criminals. Then we can show the international community exactly what they're doing. And we can show them we tried everything. We tried to be peaceful. We tried to hold them accountable, and we still can't do nothing. So China, since you got that big ass military and you see our flags up and down, you mind helping us please get these Europeans off our land? Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll fight in this fight with you too because we ain't cowards. That's a different argument. But if we don't have a national standing, if we don't have, we can approach another nation if our nation is effed up. And then our nation don't even know that they're a nation of people, they think that they're crowns. And then we're trying to do this selfish thing where I got the Moorish knowledge, so I'm going to go ahead and do this for myself. The Prime Minister of Turkey don't speak for himself. He speaks for Turkey. And we got all these Moors trying to be something, not being elected. How do you self-appoint yourself to anything? We got a lot to deal with. But we can get remedy. So since we just talked about a bunch of crap, let me show you remedy. This is what 2 Moors did by themselves with no attorney. We got felony charges dismissed.
Got what?
Felony charges dismissed. She was facing obtaining money on false pretenses and exploitation of an elder. Here's the counts.
Is that the land of flowers?
No, but I helped her using this. Then here's the discovery, front of the discovery package. Here's the writ that we wrote with our signature and thumbprint on the back. Oops. Signature and thumbprint. I'll show you blank page. No one said nothing. I see how it is. Signature and thumbprint on the back. And then this is what the Seoul Court State said. They dismissed it. This is what 2 people did. Imagine. Let's say 100. Let's just say 100. Let's say 100. Imagine what 100 Moors can do with this territory. If this is what 2 people did, we said, well, this paper is not gold or silver, so it's not money, so we can't be charged with obtaining money on false pretenses. Also, prove that you're a judge. Show us your oath. Also, prove that there's an injured party. Then the state said the state would be unable to sustain its burden of proof at trial. Therefore, this matter is dismissed. So they could not prove that there were a judge. They could not prove that there was any money, because there is no money. They could not prove that there was an injured party. 2 Moors did this. Imagine what 100 could do.
Yes. Question.
Yes.
When they dismiss the case, are they supposed to give you something stating that the case has been dismissed?
That's what we got, and we got it sealed by
Because
them.
I had my case dismissed for a license issue.
Now, did you go to the clerk and get a certified stamp out of that?
No.
Well, you
I
should
would
do
be
that.
glad to get up out of
Well, you should get it.
Okay. See, I was like, let me just get
Because they'll do BS charges like that on people, and then their job will be like, well, since you're pending something, you have to let it go. That's genocide. So we would show them, look, no charges, go ahead and hire me again. Right, but the goal is to stop working for these Europeans, work for our own people, but this is what we got, this is what we're working with. So if you want remedy, wake up. Any other questions? You can make copies of that if you'd like. Just copy it here, 20 cents a page.
This is the type of stuff that our people want to see.
Yes,
Like,
they need to see it.
Yo,
So
exactly. Like, I don't feel like
So we went out downtown Providence and was handing that to our people, showing them this is what it is.
I'm gonna make a copy of that.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Great.
You need to do that like once a week, man.
You know what I was thinking about too? I was on the way up here, I was thinking about that. What if we like community fund and we bought like a bunch of flash drives and just put like certain information, appealing information to our people. And those out like, check it out.
We can do that.
You know what I'm saying? Check out what's on there.
But we have a policy here.
I think print it out.
Hold on. We have a policy here with the Nationality Codes. We have a code of conduct. And one of those rules was, if you have an idea and you want to propose it to the group, you're responsible with doing the necessary work related to that. So if you say you want to compile information, you wouldn't say that. You would say, hey, Morris, I compiled this, and this. I put it on a flash drive. I had this idea of handing it out. What do you think? Oh, yeah, we'll put money on that and then get the flash drive to do it. That's how we do things here. Because a lot of black people, and some Moors too, will have this idea and just throw it out and hopefully someone catches it so that they waive all responsibility. We don't do that here.
Right.
I'm not.
No, I already know.
I'm just laying down the law because that's how we need to operate. Because we haven't been. We've been just saying, well, we need to do this, and then walk away. Yeah, I really said that.
Right.
Or you could make a video, and then we have the website. it's easier instead of spending notes on flash drives, post it on the website, and it's free. So you can just tell them go to the website.
Yeah, so like I said, we were handing out copies of that and a few copies of some pages from my book about dealing with gun charges, because that's what they hit our people with. So-called weed charges, which is really cannabis, which is a plant, medicinal plant. Article 24, Rights of Indigenous People, says we have the right to maintain all medicinal plants. You don't need a GED license because it says we have the right. Then this case law says a right which is free and open to all is not subject to a license or a tax, so you can't be charged for not having a license to have so-called marijuana. Also, in that package was habeas corpus, which is dealing with taking someone out who's facing those charges. So we sent them that package and then proof that we got something dismissed. So without an attorney. So imagine that. If the information that these morgues have, imagine what will happen when there's more in the same territory. Because we got morgues all over this country. But there's not one Moorish community. How?
Exactly. That's what we're missing.
That is what we're missing.
Because I've been to.
Because we have the knowledge, we just need the numbers.
Yeah, I used to go to the temple in Brooklyn, and every time I used to go through there, I used to drive by this Jewish neighborhood, and they got police department.
Yep,
they
their
got
own
hospitals.
Their
they got
own.
the ambulance. They got the school buses with the Hebrew writing on it. And you see all their kids outside with their tassels, and and I'm just like,
you know what they have? Common unity.
Exactly. That's it. Community.
Common unity. Our common unity is that we're Moors. What's yours? Because if you're black, you don't know how black you are, so you don't know who you united with. That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, I'm not really black because I'm walking around with an ankh. I'm not really black because I'm this. So, Stupid. Anything else? Snacks? Snack time? Anything else you want to talk about? Because I feel like y'all look tired. Did I? Well, I don't want to bring the spirits down. I'm just saying, we have reality to face. Yes.
I think it's just like I'm in the process of trying to learn how to write writs.
Yeah. Well, we can get into that. What time is it?
It is 1:30.
Y'all want another break? We can talk about writs.
Sure.
Yeah, go. All right. How long want another break?
Well, remember, we're still on live too.
I know.
We're at 2 hours and 24 minutes on live.
You got some fancy flip-flops on, man.
You want to come back? 1:50, 20 minutes?
We rag on our brothers, man.
20-minute break?
Sorry.
All right. Whose is that? Your brother here?
I know.
Old school laptop.
I'll be back 20 minutes.
Do you want me to mute it out?
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Did you read the rest of that?
Hopefully I'll be able to make it back up here next week. But I didn't.
No.
Because I got caught on Wednesday.
Oh, that seal is dope. So, if you're still there, brother, the vehicle is not owned. Once you sign it from the DMV or whatever, you get a certificate of title. A certificate of title is proof that a title exists, but you don't have it.
Brother Jamal.
Yes.
So, but I'm getting the dog thing, but for us as well, I'm getting a vinyl print.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yes, sir. Because
you got the chief, you got the Indian chief.
Because I think it's gonna help me get money too. But what I'm doing with the dogs. But at the end of the day, it'll help us raise funds for.
That's dope.
We need the whole group to start showing up so we could get back on the trust.
Yeah, we do.
And do I want to present the group with my business plan.
All right, so Brother Jamal, I hope you heard that, but when you get the certificate of title, it's not the title, so you don't actually own it. the DMV gets the manufacturer statement of origin, they scan it, then they destroy the original. So that way we'll never be able to know. And unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. Now, I'm not saying that there is no way to get it back, but that's the information. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make something up and send you on an imaginary mission thinking that you're going to get your stuff.
I made you nervous.
I didn't say you made me nervous.
It's like, why is you standing?
No, I look just, why you touching me like that?
Get your hand up my pocket.
That's a dope seal, by the way.
Thank you for the correction.
I'll pay you the rest of the notes. I'll do it right now. You want to show them the seal?
Did you read the rest of the
Yeah, I read it.
Oh, and also
Oh, Leonidas said he's on his way.
awesome.
All right, brother Jamal.
You want to get that? Yeah. You have a
laptop?
laptop? Yeah, you have your laptop?
Oh, I had to bring a laptop.
You have a flash drive?
Yeah, flash
Okay,
drive.
I'll put it on a flash drive.
So
Do you have
I've been seeing this.
the flash drive on your thing?
I have it right here.
Okay.
Just because I don't want this to lag if I'm doing that. I don't know if it will.
No, I don't have it on me. I have it right here.
Yeah, can you plug in his and plug in yours and transfer it?
You sure want to plug anything into my computer?
Why?
Let me just play Jamal. Real quick. Ooh, this is not big, though. Any other questions?
There was this other private comment.
I know she was on a call with us one time, but I don't know anything about that. I wasn't told anything about that.
I don't want to see some things. Got some more traction.
He said, I thought it was owned once we signed the document
No, I already-
releasing
already-
it of the, okay.
I already answered that. Wait,
Oh, yeah. I'm getting that tatted
put the wrong password.
I'm gonna get it right here, Jamal.
Ah.
The seal, don't be surprised when you see it right here, all right?
That'd be dope.
No. I love tattoos and stuff.
I love tattoos too. I have 11.
My whole back does.
I have 11 tattoos.
That's our seals. I think we're the, not that. We're more, I think, I'm not gonna say we're more active. I'm not gonna say we're more active because I don't want to put ourselves higher than it, because I don't know what other people do. But I can say that I can say when it's court, when our brothers in court, we show up at least 10, 15. When we got up out of the courtroom the other day, the judge stopped everything. He said, hold on for a second, because we all got up and we walked out. And he stopped court.
All right, brother Jamal, I'm about to send you the rest of the notes right now to the seal. You email it to me, riseofthemores.org. Send you some notes right now.
He said it. He said to stop for a second.
Oh, right.
I resend it.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Please, Jamal, tell her what the judge said when we all got up to walk out.
Which time?
Huh?
Oh, this past time?
Yeah.
Oh, you told everyone in the room to shut up.
It was crazy. And the one time we went before, we had an issue with the sheriffs. And
Naimira,
they called.
can you tell Jamal to text me his email so I can send him the PayPal and the notes?
That's how we like. This is how
With me? I had headphones in. I was at someone's house.
What happened the other day when we were in the park?
I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no. What happened the other day when the LPNs were trying to throw you out?
What happened when they were about to throw you out there?
Who's about to throw me out what?
No, the LPNs were trying to,
Oh.
but they told me to tell you to go play something. So what happened? And what did they do? What did they do?
And I can go on this website and I'm gonna donate it. I didn't get that money last week.
It's
You know, polite and upright. And I said, you know.
do you have PayPal or Cash App?
No, I have to get that app.
Yeah, that usually we do it through that, but
Okay, so I'll get that app next time I see it. I'll be able to take that information and I can send money.
a lot of well, not a lot of people, but the few people that do dues, they just give us cash.
Oh, I can do that too.
Yeah, we put it.
So I want to do some donate something. I want to say it won't be much.
Let's see.
Looks good. You get a receipt?
I can email you a confirmation if you want.
Yeah, all right. You have my email, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Did you get the name correction papers I sent you?
No, I didn't get those.
I emailed it to you.
You did?
Let me.
Oh, it's on my phone computer.
He's running after them.
Raisins.
Right. He's like, get off our land! Get off our land! And they went and packed up all their stuff and left.
Exactly.
So I was happy
Let me
that
see if I can.
he was able to see that.
Just to let you know, the camera's still on.
Oh, people can see me?
No, this is what they're seeing.
Oh. I'm not really good at this, but I'm getting better at it.
Let me turn It's on now.
All right. So we're gonna go into writs. Going to writs. Okay, so we have to. I want to tell them why we have to mute the audio so they don't think COINTEL Pro.
Well, I muted the audio because somebody was next to the camera having a private conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right, man.
Before we go on.
How you doing, bro? Hey, what's up, brother? Islam. Islam, brother, sister. How you doing? I was doing some studying last night, and
The mic's on here. Just
okay.
FYI.
All right, yeah. I was over there. I'm like, where's the brother and sister at? And I was just getting it on the computer. Like,
This Brazilian just not. Get people up and just tell them, man, it needs to be done.
Well, I mean, same thing with trust. We said the same thing.
and I got lost trying to get here.
All right, so we're gonna talk about writs. In order to talk about writs, I'm gonna ask one question. What is a writ? Writ. Writ is a command. So who asked about how to write this? All right, so let's use the example of toll tax. All right, is that a good example? Toll tax. So what do we do in a situation where we go through a toll and I can't remember what system, but they send you like an automated thing in the mail saying, if you have your number, put your number in. If not, it's $1.50. Yeah. So what would we say to them? So you can, on the top of your document, put the Morse flag. It's coming from you. Then you can put affidavit. Of facts and writ of discovery. So you're commanding that they produce some information, right? So, you can also put notice. Now you don't have to put this. This is saying that peace.
Peace, God.
Glad to see you. Glad to see you.
It's not.
Came up in the room.
I watched the class all the way here. Sorry, I missed last week.
So,
What do you mean by rid of this stuff?
writ of discovery is you're commanding that they disclose information to you. So it's a discovery for you. You're discovering something.
Yes.
And they're disclosing something to you, so they're telling you. So they answer that. You know what I'm saying? So me saying, what's your name? I'm commanding your name, so it's writ of discovery. Then you can add this principle in. You don't have to add it. You can just know it. You can say, yes. Oh, please raise your hand. Notice to the agent is notice to the principal because the agent works for the principal. And also notice to the principal is notice to the agent. Right? So if you're trying to send Jamal a letter and then Jamal has a secretary named Brenda. If you write that letter to Brenda, and she has to give it to me, and she signs for it, it's as if you gave it to me. So if Walmart sends you a letter in the mail, and you respond to the CEO of Walmart, then you're responding to Walmart. That makes sense? Because oftentimes when they send us stuff in the mail, it's not a human being sending it, which is an inducement to fraud. Yes.
Also,
Huh?
I got the proof of the case.
All right, dope. Dope. You wanna kind of, you have it right now? You wanna come up here and talk about it real fast?
Yeah, let him do that. Go ahead.
You know, brother, part of the Narragansett Confederacy.
He says he's shy, but we know he can do it.
Up in so-called Massachusetts, low mass, the northern region of the Narragansett Confederacy representing strong.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? Because we all the best Moors out here doing it. Showing results, doing it. 3 cases? Oh yeah, yours, yeah. So we 3 for 3 out here. Dubs. Yeah, we dismissed it.
You did not get Steph Curry.
Alright, so while he's getting that ready, so notice the agent notes the principal again. If you're trying to send me something and someone, let's say you're trying to send me a letter, right? And you send it to my house, my mom signs for it, that's notice to the agent, note to the principal. So,
Excuse me, brother. I gotta sign over there?
yeah. Sign it, please.
Put my
Yeah, put your name and your number and email if you want, or you just put your
name.
name. You put your free national name. That's cool. So again, dealing with the toll tax. If they send you something in the mail, not signed by someone, that's an inducement to fraud. So we're gonna respond with, so this is gonna be at the top, the national flag. 2, all you gotta do is do research on, I think it's the DMV or something like that, or the Department of Transportation. The Department of Transportation, I think, who sends you notice in the mail that you went to a toll.
Yeah, the DMV. Yeah.
Or either one. So whatever agency it's from, you just Google them, Google who the CEO is. That's all you gotta do. Then you put the CEO's name. Right? Then you do in Rhode, right? The bill of attainder. Then you put the ticket number. And according to the Constitution, a bill of attainder is what? Unconstitutional. Who knows what a bill of attainder is? A bill of attainder is saying you're guilty without bringing you to court. So every time they put peace, every time they give you a so-called speeding ticket or a so-called parking ticket or a toll, something in the mail dealing with toll tax, that's a bill of attainder. They're saying you owe me this because you did this and you didn't go to court. That's a bill of attainder. So they're saying you're guilty. Unconstitutional, yes.
I can't see the board.
Oh. So under that, put that in Rhode, bill of attainder number, blah, 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 blah. Then chances are you went through the toll with a so-called license plate registered in a straw name. So you put 2 there in relation to this from.
In red or plain?
No, it can be black, because you know, you type it in.
All right.
From, then you put your free national name, so I'll just put mine.
Brother, I can record?
Yes. Then under that, you put this. Or whatever straw name that they sent that letter to. So you're responding in relation to this, about this. So you're protecting your physical body because they wrote a letter to this in regards to this. Does that make sense? So you're not speaking for this, you're speaking in relationship or with information pertaining to this, knowing that it's not you. Is everyone clear on that? Are we sure?
I'm clear.
Great. So, as an example, you can say this as an example. It's not limited to this. You can make this one line. Well, let me put the CEO's name. Let's say his name is Joe.
Probably is.
Joe Smith.
Sounds about right.
Let's just say his name is Joe Smith. That would be the CEO, right? Joe Smith. Right. And they're sending you something in the mail. Well, yeah, you know, vehicle, license plate number, this, and this. Went through toll, blah, 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 city of whatever. You owe 150. Right? Let's just say that that's what they said in the mail. Your response would be, you know, in letter form like this. You know, dear John Smith, according to Article 6 of the American Constitution, all debts and contracts entered into before the engagement of this Constitution are valid against the United States as under the Confederation. And all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. According to Article 4 of the Articles of Confederation, the people have the right to free ingress and regress into every other state, being free entry and exit into any other state. So why are you saying I owe you tax? And you can leave it like that. By the way, you have 30 days to respond. And then have to give you a reason why you owe them something. If they don't, then they don't. Or you can add. So you can stop it right there, or you can add. Also, you're saying I owe you 150. Are you asking me to pay you in gold and silver or Federal Reserve notes? I need you to clarify. Also, you can say, John Smith, are you, is your agency part of the government? If so, which one? Yep. And if they say the United States, well, I'm not a citizen of the United States. Sorry, I owe you crap. Because no taxation without representation. Last time I checked, there's no Moors in the United States fessed up talking about we're Moors and we're speaking for Moors up here. So no taxation or representation. That you can, those two things, that's a risk. You know what I'm saying? It's very simple. Yeah, that's the problem. Once we start overthinking and we're not breathing, then our brains are like, what planet is this?
So, brother.
Yes.
Brother, is that a UCC?
Yes.
One, okay.
One that's true too. That means knowledge. So that means as soon as they got it, they've been put on notice.
Okay.
Oh, so
that UCC 1-202 notice for principal.
Yeah, it's codified as that. Yes. Yeah, it's codified as that.
That's the proof.
Yeah.
So for this example, you used what article in the Constitution?
Article 6. And then Article 4 of the Articles of Confederation. And I'll read that right now.
Okay.
Because in the Constitution it says, yeah, I'll read both. The Articles of Confederation is part of the supreme law of the land.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, he basically had.
Do.
Title.
Ready?
It's just something, so just if they have it.
Yeah, because oftentimes they'll send you something in the mail without someone's name.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the CEO of the company, whatever. Right? So this is what Article 6 of the Constitution says. Clause 1, so Article 6, Clause 1, all debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation.
Oh, okay. So we use that article to go back
to the Articles of Confederation. Yes. Clause 2. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. Clause 3. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislators in all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as qualification to any office or public trust on the United States. That's why they say there's a separation between church and state, but there is none. That's the only separation, that there will be no test. But there is no separation between church and state. That's why every nation has their own religion. Then, so we're talking about toll tax, right? Despite, Article 1, Section 8 saying only Congress can collect taxes and a toll tax is a tax, right? Articles of Confederation, Article number 4, the better to secure and perpetuate mutual friendship and intercourse among the people of the different states in this union, the free inhabitants of each of these states, papers, vagabonds, and fugitives from justice, expected shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of free citizens in the several states. And the people of each state shall have free ingress and regress to and from any other state, and shall enjoy therein all the privileges of trade and commerce, subject to the same duties, impositions, and restrictions as the inhabitants thereof, respectively, etc. So if you ain't free, then you're paying taxes. But if you're free and you know how to read, then you can tell them, what are you talking about? I owe you anything. This is where jurisdiction comes into play, where if you think that you're driving, which is commerce, then they can tax you. But if you know you're not, and you're traveling, then they can't.
We're not taxes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Say, I got a license out, I got a CDL, I get pulled over, I claim my nationality, does that still put me in the jurisdiction?
No.
But I didn't think so.
Because they would have to prove that you are operating within commerce. Just because you have a license plate does not mean you're operating within commerce. Because what if you use your car as a taxi, but you're off duty?
Right.
And you're not for hire, so you're not in that jurisdiction.
Exactly.
So if they were operating lawfully, then you would go to court and they would have to prove that you were operating for hire.
Plus, there's no court still like that.
Exactly. So you always go back to law. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Common sense. Because oftentimes they'll say, well, you had a passenger in your car. But you don't know that passenger means that they're paying for it, which puts you back in commerce. You say, I have a guest. Right. What are you talking about? I'm not stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Legalese.
Yes. Yeah. Any other questions? So definitely, thank you. If you don't know, look up the difference between a passenger and an automobile guest or simply guest. Yes.
Yes, I have a question. So.
Peace.
Peace, brother. All right, so for us that are dealing with Babylon, right, that have to deal with, or, like you said, most of us have to do this work and, have jobs or employment, whatever. There was something that I looked up from a brother that was talking about that the IRS has to go with whatever, like say free national. So whatever treaty they have to abide by, whatever treaty. So we're under the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Yeah. So basically, we get tax cuts, breaks, and actually some of us don't have to pay for certain things at all under the treaties.
Now, I hear what you're saying, but you have to apply their process. I mean, you have to get their permission. Right. So we're still begging.
Okay.
Because again, Diversified Metal Products versus T-Boat Company and the IRS. The United States, via its attorneys, Richard R. Ward and Betty White, under paragraph 4, admitted that the United States that the IRS is not an agency of the government. So how they collect the taxes from you anyway?
Yes, you're right.
You get what I'm saying? That's the issue. We keep seeking employment and calling ourselves employees, which means servant.
That's what I was just asking.
And then hold on. And then they're saying, well, if you want to get paid, you have to have a social security number, and you have to have this, and you have to have that, and you have to have this, and you have to have that. But then you go to Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, where it says, no obligation shall be placed on contracts, meaning they can't force you to do that. And then you go to the Declaration on Human Rights, Article 20, no one may be forced to associate. In order to get a social security number, you have to associate with the Social Security Administration. Then you can hit them with discrimination. Because they're saying I'm not going to hire you because you're a Moor. That's discrimination. Yes. And every so-called state has those general laws. But then we argue racism. instead of suing them. And then we try to go through their BS benefits through the BS IRS.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
And the IRS sitting over there privately, just watching the funds come in.
Yeah. And then our people are so desperate, we're just gonna be like, oh, this is what we gotta do to get money. And then we're servants again.
Well, not getting money. What I'm saying is make us exempt from.
But we already are exempt, is what I'm saying. Their process can't make us exempt. We are exempt. Get it?
But how they show that they have to abide by a treat by treaty.
Yes. But if you don't enforce that treaty,
that's what I'm presenting to you. That's what I'm telling you. Because some of us have to, like you said, deal with these people.
Yes.
Now, that's another thing if they say we're owe money and we fight them. But it's another thing if we're exactly our livelihood where we can actually get things cut.
Now, this is where. So I'm going to say something that I was going to say off camera, but I'm going to say it on camera because this is important. So with the Mortgage American Council, we've been putting all these. I'm going to send her a third notice, whereby I'm going to write law. I'm going to tacit ask and fail to respond to us and honor your oath to the Constitution. You agree to these following terms. Then I put them in there. You'll see exactly how it helps. Then I'm also on that keep everything that they get. Then I put the name of this letter upon request is called this. And we're all going to Secretary of State certify a copy of this document sealed by administration, saying what our rights are, sealed by them. They don't want to go to any of these appointment whatevers and say, look, this is what the law is. Sealed by your secretary. Now say something.
But that's how it is. That's because we've been in such acquiescence. Moves like this have to be made by all of us.
And all of us have to know.
It's their law anyway.
Is it just an exhaustion of the administrative process? Is this what's going on, like an administrative battle type thing? Because it's government versus government.
But our government's
yeah, exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
and then hold on, and then we got grand sheiks and grand governors not creating the law and enforcing law. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to see the document that I wrote.
They got fishing.
And you can see the other two documents on risingthemoors.org. Because I'm not playing with these people.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
So hold on. So now once that third letter is sent, right? Yeah. And then any one of us get harmed based on them not responding, that's called a tort claim. Tort. So based on them not upholding their contractual obligations, it resulted in an injury on one of us. Then we go to U.S. District Court and sue them. But you might want to have your GD nationality card so we can get in the building. If you ain't talking about we need remedy and you don't have your card, and then when it's time to
we don't think
I don't care, it doesn't stop it.
They gotta knock their physical down. That's all they can.
And they won't even be able to do that.
They can't.
But like you said, we hit them with the law, which is their law.
They can't do nothing.
It's not even their law.
That's why they say the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
The pen mightier than the sword.
So all we gotta do, all we gotta do is this.
Once we all learn. Exactly.
Cut the lower self off because that nothing to do with it. Feels a little Oh, you want to dismiss?
That's the first time I've heard of that.
What?
Yeah, so you see the Mason apron on, it's covering their lower self. Their lower
Oh, that's like serving. Whatever, right?
No, it's lower self, with crimes, lewdness, all the negativity, all the stuff, if you say something to me and it affects me emotionally, well, you can get into an argument and say, no, I respect your position, and we can handle it diplomatically, that's the lower self. As an example.
I used to, when I was young and dumb, didn't know better, and I didn't know how to read anything. I used to, when I got nice, tell people, okay, yourself. You know what I'm saying? It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but when I started to study and learn, and I did yoga for a little bit, and it's like, I forget his name, Carmen starts with a K. But you go into this dude's little biology about him, and you find out that I'm not the one who came up with this, go kill yourself. The Buddhists, the yogas themselves used to tell it to the monks. Way back then. And
kill your lower self.
Kill your lower. Little, what's his name? And now he's better than he was before. That's what all that is about. So don't let it take your mind on a boat with no paddle. But this right here is proof that, because before this, I used to be in jurisdiction subjugated to them, considered a threat to them. So upon going through many ways and passages to try to come to resolution or ratify these problems that they got, because acting towards the color of your skin, that's what they would like you to believe, because that sends your mind somewhere else too. But that's not the case, because we're not reading. It's a rap. This, I did this after just reading. I'm gonna throw all information out there, but she was literally oppressed by a fellow individual, same her, but his mind is in lower self. So he oppressing her. He don't know what he's doing etherically, and he don't know what he's doing physically, and he don't know what he's doing legally or lawfully. So he's just a belligerent, what they would call us, against it. Because we all have the right to defend ourselves, right?
Yep.
Right. So the call went into them. It was this, that, and the third. When it showed up, the report came in, and it wasn't this, that. Anyway, in this situation, there is an alleged victim.
Asiatic?
Asiatic, of course. You know, they still got us on the strings. He gets incarcerated right after oppressing her. He's off already, still oppressed. He gets caught up. He's jacked up, and they the camera. Oh yeah, I'll cover her name right here. I'll cover her name, okay. And they can see the. Yeah, her name is covered in it. And they can take a look at the actual.
If you're too close, it won't focus. We ain't just running our mouth around here.
No, we not.
Okay. So smacking the beast up, smacking them up.
They got her in there now, and mind you, I got a case the same day. So, and all these rights belong to me by birth, and it's like you in my house telling me, and we in there signing a waiver. Yeah, sorry, the known again. My apologies. The known again. Call it. No, they take it upon themselves, step up and say counsel. What is it? Civil law. Yeah, right. General Civil Law, June 10th, 2014.
Yep.
This belongs to me. Counsel, here I am. I'm talking about that now. They want me to sign a waiver of dismissal for counsel. I said, first of all, she didn't even get to the point where she, you notice they say, oh, I like to put in they always go, oh, we're going to put in a plea of non-guilty on your behalf, and we see that you qualify for counsel, and we're going to put whatever to represent you. They didn't even do that. I already. So when I showed up, they already jumped, they already skipped the move. This chestnut, they skipped the move. They didn't have a table for me. So I had to hold my case in my hand, and I'm on my square. She goes, oh, well, we can't proceed because we need to know to sign the waiver so we can. I said, objection. We can proceed because here I am, counsel for problem. So second call begins to drag on. So they would do what? Get rid of people sitting in the courtroom who don't want to hear this. Courtroom empty. Come back. That. So when they did that to me, second call, boom, I went downstairs to this. They had my sister talking, and my brother was there as counsel, right, holding it down until I got down for my case. And we went in there and we sat down. And when when Mr. Bosnabendorf was and the little CO guy, Mr. Bosnabendorf Jr., he was super upset, flexing on my brother. Well, he's not there, stand up. So next time he comes in, you gotta say, stop. We ain't trying to hear none of that. We sick and tired of being sick and tired. So we ain't trying to hear him. He ain't even scratching the surface. Like, get this guy out. I'm up there when the judge talks, they don't want me. Like, my brother always got to calm me down. They got to calm me down because I'm the one that will step up even when the judge is saying his nonsense. Objection. And I'll show them in the law where counsel, where, and Article 6, what is it in the Constitution that says we're entitled to counsel?
It's a Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights. And even in his case, we had the judge recite it, right? The judge told us that the judge emptied the courtroom just to protect your rights. Right.
No witnesses.
Right. Gave him, and he was given the option to keep his counsel in there. And so everyone they saw with the feds got to stay in the room, which is me and my brother. So I'm like, Your Honor, my Honor, you just said it for yourself. Here I am. So she started up there on the screen. She handled it. I didn't have to step it. So I'm watching Jambi. They're talking about this, that, and the third. And here goes in the dismissal, right, where they give the little explanations, right? Continue the jury at request of the Commonwealth. This de facto statement they got sitting on us. Objects pursuant to Mass RCM R criminal P36 NFC for Commonwealth. Right, and then Commonwealth's motions to issue habeas corpus. Right, for the defendant who went on a person and they locked him in, they got him somewhere else. They habeas corpus him. I'm going back to I said, well, you guys gangster. Mind you. And they gave him a suit. Suit. He was in the shop. I thought he was in a suit. Johnny said, no, that's him, Leonidas. I said, oh, that's the dude? With the glass on, look sharper than a $150. I'm like, what the what? And he's there. But keep this. They had him, so he's in their jurisdiction, right? He then, or the DA comes and says that their defendant puts in a Fifth Amendment plea. And the case gets dismissed. All of a sudden, so he was up to fight against her until all of a sudden they habeas corpus and brought him in a suit to plead the Fifth Amendment.
So they just had to bring someone there so they can say they don't want to say anything.
And Johnny still stood on the square.
So in other words, they said we don't want no smoke with the mortgage.
Pretty much. And then after that because that came out, no, I'm ready to see this Bosnabendorf dude come off his bench with all types of just de facto law and all types of color of terms and I'm ready for him. And it didn't go according to how I was geared up in there ready for him. He just the Fifth Amendment he came out, the DA folds, and then they try to pull a side move in there where they go, oh, the dismissal will be upon the payment of the attorney fee. And this is why shout out to Jambi if she's watching. I love her for this. She goes, objection. What attorney? What attorney fee? There's no my counsel is, and then she pointed to us. My counsel's here. Like, what attorney fee? And then the judge goes, all right. And he said the 2 feet, 150, right? LF waived by what? Bookkeeper, whoever they wanted to be a man. But there it is. We went in there standing on the square with the law, with the Constitution, because I was ready. Because anything they didn't think, Article 6 would have came up, would have brought me to the Confederation, would have brought me to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, and I would have down the line. Because remember, I'm in the awakening just like all of us. I'm just waking up just like everyone. So I'm coming out of trying to be all I can be. Right? What they tell us, what they told us, right? So I was doing everything in the business, trying to, think this is the American way. And they dragging me down the line with all types of oppression to get this stuff. So, like, the grace of God, I just found who I am, what I am. They like to tell us everything under the sun. You know, when you read it, some European dude, or if you really read it, some mulatto dude gave us the name. Right? So when you really find out who you are, it's a deeper feeling. So the paperwork don't make us none of what it's you. It's the status. When you learn that someone's in your house charging you, don't your mind go, what? Somebody in your crib literally charging you to be in your crib. How that sound? That sound crazy. Can we go to Europe and charge Europe to be over there?
No.
Can we go to China and charge China to be over there? No. So then how are they over here charging us to be here? In our own place. Right now in North and Narragansett, what they want to tell y'all is Massachusetts. They don't like it. They don't like it. Police parks in one of my street. Ask my brothers. When you get to where my house is, it just seems, and I live in a nice little park across the bridge. Where y'all live is a little more tougher. Where I'm over in a nice little school area, the street big, all the people come out and everything's Gucci. But now it's just an increased police around here. Like, okay, you would have thought there's murders out here or something. Yeah. They don't have nothing better to do. Don't think that there's crime going on here.
So basically, if you're living in an apartment, a land, whoever they say that own the place, and it's not supposed to charge you federal banknotes.
No.
So where I'm living, I shouldn't be paying federal banknotes.
If you're paying Federal Reserve notes, right? When you get to study and you read it, you break this down. If you pay Federal Reserve notes, you're literally aiding and abetting. You're aiding and abetting. The case that he keeps reciting up here, the what is it? Diversified Metal Company versus T-Bob. The judge said that they're a private entity. There's not enough. I read the case. The judge said there wasn't enough substantial evidence to ratify the IRS as part of some government agency. So therefore, they could not deem them the claim they was asking against the metal company. That's what the document said. So the judge didn't know who they were. There were a bunch of dudes who had bread, who bought their friends suits, who bought a building, just like how we need a building. They went and they did this and they set it up. That's when that's why we watch. Know that don't set this stuff up.
It's in my book. The United States War Department where they clarified the difference between a democracy and a republic.
Yes.
And they told you that a democracy is a mobocracy, meaning a mob in the ruling class. Which he just mobocracy. Mobocracy meaning power. So the mob's in power.
Yeah. That's exactly mobocracy. Okay. That's how they break it down. So literally the runners, Democrats, or demo meaning destructive, meaning
power.
Keep that when you look up these words, this is what it means. One's making this stuff up. They know this.
And they're telling you in your face.
Yeah. And this is the thing too, emotionally, when you read, you got to be able to handle it, because when you find out how much in your face they've been doing it too.
You've been agreeing.
Some of us be like,
make you upset.
We all having a nice discussion right now. But some of us are different than others when it comes to vibrations. Yeah, that's where now I'm reading into the zodiacs, because I never used to believe that stuff, because when they had me as a Christian, the Lord Jesus Christ teaches you to demonize all other knowledge. So therefore I wasn't even looking into what and who actually meant. I'm following some dude in the sky who's got a sun next to him.
Looks nothing like you.
Nothing like me. And according to science, he can't even stand in the sun as long as me. Stay there. He can't even stand in the sun as long as me. According to science, if you want to get physical and literal, that's where it gets emotionally complex. You don't want to go to them. So this right here, this is the basis. Something to walk on. This is the basis. This is Noble Joali says there's so much to do for everyone. It's crazy. It's nuts. That's all I just want to show you. So I went in there, I represented her, we went in there as a family. They saw us. It's so real. At the end of the whole court process, didn't an attorney stop us outside? And what did he ask us?
He asked us, what's the hack for?
Yeah, now this is semantics, and he already knew all of that. He already knew everything.
He asked me the question, and he answered it from the point. I just wanted to start a conversation.
Yeah.
I know about more than going to Spain and all over.
Yep.
And there's you guys, like, you know why you asked me about that?
Yeah.
And they always,
He's trying to.
Hold on, can all the people with the fences come on camera, please?
Then you ask the question. Yes, the question.
I want, they need to see the strength.
Is a lot of you guys around here? Around here in Lowell? I said yes. Yeah, he just wanted to know what was going on.
So this is the family.
You got a little man right
That's
here.
the little man. That's the.
yeah.
You already know Europeans don't want no smoke, man. So I just want to show the camera. This is the family. This is the family. Where there's unity, there's strength. Together we stand. Divided we fall. We're showing our men the example. No more so-called gang banging. Come, take your place amongst the affairs of men. Let's protect our women. He just showed you he was speaking for our women. They're messing with our women. They got to see us.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
I'll be getting my fifth grade going. What about that?
That's all.
Not just that, we'll stand up for our people too. At the end of the day, don't think just because we're into the knowledge and we're pushovers, because we're warriors at the end of the day.
Can I take a picture before you guys move?
Yeah.
And this is for the upliftment of fallen humanity. Right. So you got to know that there's a humanity out there that's fallen. When you check this out, the Bible, all of the people and these historians are talking about and looking for a lost tribe of Israel.
We the lost ones,
and we the only place, right? The people are named after the land, or the land is named after the people, right? So in Mongolia, there's Mongolians. In Australia, there's Australians. But in America, there's blacks. So if that ain't a lost tribe, I don't know what are we looking for? What?
And then we say we're lost. It's clearly on the right path, and then we act like we got something going.
Remember, even the what is it? To the flag, right? And to the republic for which it stands. I was always in that.
The republic.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? Kaepernick took the knee to not disrespect certain parts of it. And now you can overstand that. You know what I mean? Instead of sitting down, he went and he talked to the soldier dude and certain things were said, and now he takes a knee. Because there's still a republic.
You said set the camera so they can see the show.
Which it stands. One nation. Under who? Allah.
Oh, he's on mine.
God from the governmental ordinance department. That's where they got it from.
God just means to vote.
Yeah. But once our spirit invokes justice for real, then we will hold them to it. But we gotta know
All
what
that fizz, bro.
Celebrity bar that.
All that fizz, bro.
All right, y'all can sit down. We can sit down now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Historic.
So let's give it a nice round of applause. For doing the work just because it needs to be done. And are you getting paid to do this? No, he's not. To do consulate work.
Building the nation.
And more trying to say we don't need consulates.
I come out of pocket.
Huh?
I come out more.
Yeah, we are. You want to come sit on camera? Because a lot of people think we get paid to do this.
Explain something. Ever since Dr. Sebi, peace be to the God. Peace be to Dr. Sebi. I believe for this. I believe for this. Y'all are my people. I'm saying, I'm Scorpio's a sign, and I was reading something on my sign last night. I'm very emotional, according to how I was born. So we're supposed to literally longitude and latitude our children first, under where the moon and the sun is for that day, to ratify. These are the things that they've taken. I'm saying, I bleed for this. Y'all are my people. You're my people. I grew up seeing certain things and going through certain things that I know this is real. And tell me, I done been to the prison of these, and I done been through all these types of walks that they want to. It was so real when I was in church as a Christian, because this is a message. So, and no disrespect to the Christians who follow your guidance, no, but when it comes to honor and stuff, and you talk about God, they don't even know their God. I'm in church as a Christian going to Sunday school, and like I said, I'm emotional on my side, so I fall in love with this God and Jesus, and I need to know them. So I go on a search privately outside of the church. I start visiting other churches. My mom mad at me. My mom thinking I'm wilding out, losing my mind. I'm visiting other churches, seeing what if it matches up, checking the doctrine, reading. I done read the Bible several times, the entire Bible. When you go to the belly of the beast, you only get the New International Version. I had my mom send me her King James Bible in. I've kept it since. But now that I know etymology and I know the real science, now it makes sense. Before, where I was bowing my head, closing my eyes, talking about hallelujah, not knowing what I'm talking about, not getting no gratification or what we like to complain about, blessings, because we don't. If you listen to the forefathers' name, you can call upon.
Can you break that down for us, bro?
And they got us screaming out hallelujah. We need to read and know. When after the beheading, when they killed the king, right, and they took the knowledge they found in there and burnt everything else.
Yeah.
What do you think they took? They took what?
Yeah.
And all you did was everything.
And when you read, like as an example, if you read Golden Age of the Moor, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, the same thing is burning books. That's why none of us can find where we come from.
Yeah. And it's an art of war, because what happened, because I'm discussing with John a lot about Somaliland, or what we know as Africa, and in Kenya, right? So, and we had a discussion about this when the Europeans left or got chased out or whatever. The structure that they did and built there was still left standing. So the Kenyans, instead of going back to their tribal ways, kept and continued what Europe came there and did, and thought that they could do the European thing, and it don't work. It don't work. We got to go back.
We keep chasing after the idol gods of Rome.
We can't chase the idol gods of Rome. So when they leave, it's not like they leave, but we're going to still be here selling each other carrots and fake food and poisoning each other with the same food. All that got to go. All that got to go. We got to get back to the science of everything.
Oh, if I could interject, remember you was talking about how we know we're a lost nation.
Yeah.
ETC. This is our Psalms 83 verse 4. It says, well, this is starting at 3. It says, they have taken craft that the name of
say that one more time.
Okay. It says, this is 3 and 4. They have taken craft people and consulted. They have said, cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. It says, in this is verse 5, it says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are considered.
That's why when you read this stuff, the Bible comes into play. It don't get demonized. It gets fixed.
That was Psalms 83 verses.
And Charlie said, I'm going to use the Bible to condemn.
Don't throw it away, Norris. He said, don't get rid of your Bibles.
Now can we talk about Israel real quick? So, well, let's talk about Tamari. That literally means land of the Moors. That's what Tamari means. Land of the Moors. Land of the Moors. Land, more land. Land of the Moors. Let's go into Israel real quick.
Real quick.
Now we did this before, because our people will say we're Hebrew Israelites. Now, using etymology for the 8 parts of the speech, what part of speech is the word Hebrew? Salute. Huh? Nope.
verb, right?
Yes. Hebrew is a verb. So can you be Hebrew? No, you can't. It means
Crossover.
crossover across the river, right?
Yeah.
Well, to cross over is what I was saying. And then when you look at the circle 7, chapter 47, when Charlie talks about the dominion of Africa, he talks about how the ancient Canaanites and Moabites crossed the great Atlantis before it became an ocean. We're the ones who crossed over. We're still Moors. Then when you talk about Israel, Isis, which is the moon, Ra, Amun Ra, which is the sun, and El is the 7 planetary energies or the stars. And then in the Bible it says the wise men chopped the stars. How do you think we got here? Navigation. That's how we navigated here. So we're all children of Israel. We're all children of the sun, moon, and stars. Because we all live under it.
That's why in the Disney movie Moana, she comes running out of the cave. We were navigators.
Yep.
Yeah. It's so crazy because that goes back to the Phoenicians.
And Phoenicians are really what?
Moors.
Canaanites.
They descendants.
Pheno, you're dealing with sound. Pheno means sound, phonetics, right? Ishan is or like physician or musician, someone skilled in. So someone skilled in sound. And we were the original, we're the people who created language. So we say.
Also was looking into something as well. I was studying, I forgot where I found this reference from, but it's like maybe Herodotus or something, like one of them old Greek philosophers. He was talking about and it says it specifically that we were the descendant. It says these Moors are the descendants of those that were chased out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and King David. That Goliath brought us over to northern Africa because we fled. You know what I'm saying? Came in, and then that's when we set up the king. But I was reading it, I was like,
that's exactly what Drew Ali said.
Exactly. Everything Drew Ali said, it's true. Like, I haven't found anything that I could just like defeat. So.
And if you look up the history of like Hindustan and so-called Turkey, Samaria, Sumer, kings of Ur, Mari, and you look up like around 662, dealing with so-called India, Al-Hindi, it was the Umayyad Caliphate that was running stuff there, which was also, they were the same people who were running stuff in Al-Andalus, 7-Eleven.
They said the sun never set on the Moors.
We ran Asia.
And then also the first Osaka, something like that. But I didn't eat Indian dynasty. You know what I'm saying? And I got this Indian dude that works at a gas station. I was like, where you from? I said, from that land. Right? You know, yeah, Hindustan. And I said, the person that set up my ancestors, he was just like, I said, dynasties? I said, look to the Morton. He was like, I'm going to do it. He looked, the Morton, it's spelled M-A-U-R, like I-A-N. What is that?
Well, sometimes it's usually with a Y.
Oh, with a Y. As a matter of fact, it is with a Y. Yeah. So, but it's the same, it was us.
And then look at the silk trade. China. We ran that. Yeah, we ran all of that. That's how language and we trafficked everything.
It was all of that. Because when they came out in 1492, that's where they went. They went to the Philippines, and then when they went to the Philippines, they found more. They was able to like come over here and just like.
As soon as we fell.
As soon as
we started fighting each other.
The same like if you were in the streets, you know. Say a guy got a block or whatever, and he get a piece as well. And you know, somebody come take over his block, you know, he's gonna take the money that's coming in too. Yeah. It's the same thing. Or if you mergers and acquisition in business, you merge or you acquire another business, you're gonna take their customer, pay for that. It took all of those things, and then now they're administrating.
So They never stole our land. They stole our minds.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what it is.
That's all it is.
Because we're part and parcel. They can't get the land without going through us. So if we're gonna get our land back, we have to get our people's minds back. And tell them, did you know that in Europe, there's something called the Black Plague? And about 12 million of them were dying because they weren't taking showers. They're living with animals. They would put on makeup, and then when it would dry up, they would just put more makeup on. You know who civilized them and cleaned them up? Oh, your ancestors. You know, Europeans still today. So, I think this is a good time to end. We had a lot of powerful stuff. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank all y'all for coming. We still build off